It's homecoming day at Rutgers University. Fans and alumni have gathered in Piscataway, New Jersey for an afternoon of color, pageantry, and excitement. There is enthusiasm for another reason. The Scarlet Knights football team is enjoying a successful season. Last week against Army, Rutgers rallied from behind in the fourth quarter to post their fourth win. Tailback Dwayne Hooper scored the clinching touchdown in a 14-7 victory. The Scarlet Knights look for more offense today against Louisville. Madison Square Garden Network presents 1984 Rutgers football. Today from Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers take on the Louisville Cardinals. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bruce Beck. When the college football season began last August, no one expected the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers to be competitive. After all, they had a new coach, a new system, and a prevailing negative attitude that had to be changed. Well, I guess Rutgers has surprised a few people. The Scarlet Knights come in today with a record of 4-2, and the players and the coaches now believe they can win each and every game. Working with me on today's telecast, former coach at Connecticut and Princeton, Bob Cacciola. And Bob, how has Rutgers done it? Have they done it with mirrors so far?
No, Bruce, I don't believe they've done it with mirrors at all, because you hit upon it. The coaching staff, Dick Anderson and his staff, has created something here that they haven't seen in a long time. A lot of enthusiasm, discipline both on and off the field. But most of all, they've created a defense that has kept them in the ball game with everybody they've played this year, every opponent. The Rutgers defense has allowed only 295 yards a game. That's 60 less than they did a year ago with basically the same personnel. They've caused 19 turnovers, 10 fumbles, and 9 interceptions. And last week against the #1 rushing team in America, Army, they held that club to 200 yards rushing, which was 150 yards below their average. That's where it is. Many people believe if you're going to do it, if you're going to turn around a program, you can do it on defense. Rutgers, Dick Anderson and his staff has done it there. They're not only competitive within their schedule right now, but they're winning.
Also working with us on today's telecast, my broadcast partner, former captain of the New York Jets, Sam DeLuca. And Sam, Bob talked about defense. How about the Rutgers offense, and namely quarterback Eric Hochberg?
Bruce, I haven't seen very much of Rutgers or Eric Hochberg since the opener against Penn State. At that time, I thought that any success Rutgers would have this year would hinge on the arm of Eric Hochberg. A quick glance at the stats indicates he has not been as effective as last season, when he completed 61% of his passes for an average gain of 13.4 yards. That completion percentage down to 51%, 10.5 yards a catch. However, it would be a serious mistake to evaluate Eric Hochberg or any quarterback based solely on the stats. The bottom line, the only thing that's important is that record. That 4-2 record is very impressive. Talk about passing, you've got to talk about Louisville and their quarterback, Ed Rupert, spelled with 2 B's. Going into last week's game against Indiana State, he was the 4th-ranked passer in the nation. 9 for 27 last week. They held him to less than 200 yards for the first time this year. Louisville will come out passing. It's going to be a test for that Rutgers defense. They've been effective against the pass, 116 yards a game, but teams have only thrown 34% of the time against them. We'll see how good they are today.
Okay, all the pieces are in place. The Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, the Cardinals of Louisville, homecoming day 1984. We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment.
Sleek aerodynamic styling, phenomenal handling, advanced electronics, unexpected comfort, and an ingeniously smooth power plant. There's even a full-blown turbocharged model. Until now, an economy car with all this was only a mirage. It still is. The new Mitsubishi Mirage.
If a restaurant charges you extra just because you paid with a credit card, you'd probably never go there again. But that's what some gas stations are trying to get away with. Look, they say their cash island costs less. That means their credit card island costs more. Getty doesn't go in for that kind of fancy footwork. Cash, Visa, or MasterCard, it's the same low price. You don't pay a penny more to charge. We give you more credit than that. At Getty, the proof is at the pump.
And we're set to go and underway from Rutgers Stadium. The Scarlet Knights receiving the kickoff first. And Rutgers gets the ball to the 27-yard line as Dan McHarris returns it nicely for Rutgers. Gives the club pretty good field position. And the Scarlet Knights will start out 1st and 10. There's McHarris. Dan McHarris, number 17, a freshman from Toms River, New Jersey. So Eric Hochberg will lead out the Scarlet Knights. Muggy afternoon, hot and humid at Rutgers Stadium. Out of the I formation the first time, the starting fullback today, Curtis Stevens, getting the nod over Vernon Williams. Eric Hochberg to throw on 1st down. He has Andrew Baker. Baker out of bounds at the 35, 2 yards shy of the 1st down, but Hochberg goes right to the air. Here's the Rutgers offensive unit. Quarterback Eric Hochberg, and there's the interior line. Jim Keating, Clement Udovich left side. Joe DiGilio is the center. Lee Getz and Mike Brenner handle the right side. Alan Andrews starting tight end. Hochberg the quarterback. Smith, and it is Curtis Stevens getting the start over Vernon Williams at the fullback position. Boris Pendergrass the split end. Andrew Baker the flanker. 2nd down and short, and Curtis Stevens has a Rutgers 1st down at the 38-yard line. Here's a look at the Louisville defensive unit. It is a 50 series. It will look like a 5-2 or a 3-4. Brian Miller, outside linebacker or end, along with Anthony Moss. The tackles, Mark Grandy and Bobby Jefferson. Nose guard, Donnie Wheat. Linebackers are Ron Marney, Mike Minogue. We'll check the secondary in just a moment. Scarlet Knights with 1st and 10, and Hochberg will put it up. Fires to Andrews, and Andrews is at the 45-yard line. A pickup of 7 on the play. Todd Navarro made the stop.
See that again, Eric Hochberg coming out throwing the football. They've run the football 60% of the time this year, and that time he found Alan Andrews, who is the leading receiver on this Rutgers football team.
2nd down and 3 for the Scarlet Knights from their own 45, just underway, 1st quarter of play. And off to Albert Smith, looks to turn the corner into Louisville territory. Wrestled down at the Louisville 44-yard line by Anthony Copeland. He has a Rutgers 1st down.
As we have indicated, Rutgers has been winning on defense. They're trying to mix up their offense here, passing and running. And here's Albert Smith taking the ball deep from the I tailback spot. Instead of going off tackle, he breaks it outside. He's got enough speed. He's got a 1st down. I think it's very important for them today to establish the offense early.
The deep 4 for Louisville, Torrance Dickens, Kirk Perry, Don Cosby, and Doug Pritchett. Hochberg, some problems with the exchange, and he goes down immediately on 1st down. It'll be a loss of 2. Mark Grandy there to cover Hochberg. It will be 2nd and 12 for the Scarlet Knights.
Well, before the first game, Dick Anderson had indicated he wanted to get the football to his fullback more often this season. In fact, Albert Smith did not start in that game, if you remember, but Smith has become the primary ball carrier for Rutgers over the course of the season. He's carried 102 times for 449 yards, averaging 4.4 yards a carry. That's impressive.
2nd down and 12 for Rutgers from the Louisville 45. Andrew Baker goes in motion. Hochberg to throw. Steps in the pocket, throws long to a wide open Baker. It is incomplete. The ball was overthrown, but Baker was there.
Baker in motion, coming. Rutgers had the formation into the sidelines. Motion their tight end, the split end, their wide receiver Baker back to the wide side of the field. That time they hit him short the first time. This time as he comes out on the break, he's looking to hit Baker deep. And this is a finesse pass. and Hochberg's got to put it up a little bit and drop it into his hands just a little bit too long, but Baker is wide open.
Well, he certainly didn't have to overthrow him because Baker was wide open, and any kind of a pass would have reached him.
3rd and 12 Rutgers. Ball at the Louisville 45. Hochberg, straight drop back, has time, throwing to Cobb. He has it, and Cobb is in for a touchdown. Freshman Brian Cobb from Stilton, Pennsylvania, catching only his 2nd pass of the season, and Rutgers is on the scoreboard first.
Well, you see 2 defenders in the area, the cornerback moving back into coverage, expecting help from the safety. Perhaps he thought the safety would be there a little bit sooner, but Cobb caught it between them and just had a clear view of the goal line from that point on.
What happens is they were in 2 deep coverage, a good sound coverage against the long pass, but the safety man, as you described it, Sam, didn't get enough depth. He came over too shallow, and Cobb got up behind him.
Tom Angstadt will try the point after touchdown. Scott Drake will hold. And Angstadt's kick is up. It is perfect. And at the 12:39 mark of the first quarter of play, Rutgers has drawn first blood. They lead 7-0.
You see it once again, there is nothing like excitement, the excitement that a bomb creates. Rutgers has been running the football more this year, and there you see him right on target, perhaps a little bit underthrown, and you saw the safety coming over, trying to get a piece of the football. At that point, he obviously thought you don't go for the tackle because they have so much yardage to begin with. He gambled on getting a piece of it, and he lost.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this game develops. Rutgers scoring so early. They're going up against a club we've already described as a passing team, an excellent quarterback in Ed Rupert. They're going to throw the football. We'll see if they'll come out throwing right away. Rutgers is a little concerned because they really haven't faced a team that exclusively throws the ball and throws it as well as this club. Trailing 7-0, we may see more of it early.
Well, they're certainly geared for the pass. They've got the good quarterback, Ed Rupert. They've got good receivers in Gibbons and Vaughn, and a good tight end in Bruce Anthony, another wide receiver, Junior Jones, and the biggest offensive line that Rutgers has seen this year, bigger than Penn State.
Gary Lisco will kick off for Rutgers. Dropping back deep, number 18, Eric Vaughn for Louisville. It will be handled by an up man, Junior Jones at the 15. Junior Jones to the 20-yard line. He is wrestled down at the 25, and the Cards will put it in play. 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Check the Louisville offensive unit for this afternoon's football game. The interior line, Hernan Kubratoff and Mike Vito handle the left side. Greg Bianco the center. Pete Jones and Pete McCarthy, right guard, right tackle respectively. Tight end is Bruce Armstrong. Quarterback Ed Rupert. And in the backfield, John Adams and Leonard Sullivan. Wide receivers, Junior Jones, Ernest Gibbons, I should say. 1st and 10, Louisville from their own 25-yard line. And on the first play of the offensive series for the Cardinals, it's Willie Shelby getting the call, the 5'7" junior, number 30. He picked up a couple of yards on the play. Here's the Rutgers defensive group. Front unit, Tom Duffy, Tony Sagnello, George Piquel, Barry Bukowski, and Lionel Washington. Linebackers are Roy Oak and Tyrone Stowe, and the deep backs, Butch Young, Jack LaPrairie, John Cummins, and Steve Twomley. 2nd down, 7 yards to go for the Cardinals. Lone setback this time. Louisville, a multiple offense team. Quick pass on the right side to Ron Davenport. Shakes one man, has a 1st down at the 37-yard line. Tackle made by John Cummins.
Very good call in a passing situation, a team that throws the ball a lot. They have 3 wide receivers, 2 to one side. They drop the ball off to the fullback, and they're concerned about. This Davenport is a big back at 6'2", 225, and he has over a 3.7 average running the football. That time he caught it to make the 1st down.
He's their leading rusher, primarily from the one-back set.
1st and 10 Cardinals. They trail 7-0, 11:33 first quarter. Rupert across the middle has his tight end, Bruce Armstrong. Armstrong gets maybe 8 yards to the 45. Tyrone Stowe, who last week against Army had 19 tackles, came up to make the stop.
Yeah, I think the middle of that defensive line and linebacker is very important. There's a key man, Tyrone Stowe, and the man in front of him also a key man today. You saw Stowe dropping back into coverage. Had a big day last week against Army. I think the pressure, however, is on George Piquel playing over their best offensive lineman.
2nd down and 2 for the Cardinals. I formation this time. Deep back is Willie Shelby. Shelby has a first down. He's up to the Louisville 49-yard line. And Roy Oak came up to make the stop for the Scarlet Knights.
We mentioned before that this is the biggest offensive line that Rutgers will see this year. They excel at pass protection. They've allowed just 6 sacks, and they've thrown the ball coming into today's game 230 times. That is very impressive. Not exceptionally good run blockers. The size, but not necessarily the balance and the agility needed on the run.
Givens and Jones come twins to the left side. Quick pass play. Caught by Givens. He has some running room. He's a sprinter. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. And Givens is in for a touchdown. Ernest Givens, who does the 60 in 6.1, made a beautiful move, and Louisville has come right back.
As you see this play develop now, you're going to see the quarterback, Rupert, as he sets up. He's looking to throw to the right side, but he comes back on a quick split screen here to Givens. He gets the ball out after faking to the right. Givens gets a key block from his 2 blockers up front of him, and he breaks. He's got the speed to get downfield. He dives for the end zone. Cummins made a big play here, big touchdown, and Louisville, with their passing offense, comes right back.
Phil Ellis, a conventional style kicker, will try the extra point. Ellis's kick is up, and it is through there. So we've had 2 offensive possessions. Both teams have scored. Rutgers 7, Louisville 7. We'll be back with more in a moment.
It's a busy world we live in. It can take your breath away. When the going isn't easy, there's an easy going way. So relax and catch the feeling. Take off and get away. You're coming like us, coming like us.
Take your time through the airport by reserving your seat in advance. Take a comfortable wide-body plane. Spread out in a spacious business class or stretch out in a first-class sleeper seat. Across the country, across the world, nobody is working harder to make flying easier than everybody at TWA.
We're a spirit you can count on, a hand across the miles. We're a cloud to put your cares on, and an easy smile. You're gonna like us, TWA.
This is the third meeting between Rutgers and Louisville. The Scarlet Knights have won both in 76 at Rutgers Stadium and in 79 at Cardinal Stadium. And Rutgers today meeting the Cardinals for just the 3rd time. And quickly, we've had 2 touchdowns this afternoon. Rutgers going 73 yards in 7 plays. Louisville coming back going 75 yards in 5 plays. 7-7 football game. 10:28 to go, first quarter of play. Phil Ellis set to kick off. For the Louisville Cardinals, Dan McHarris and Butch Young are back deep for the Scarlet Knights. It is a short kick. Butch Young will get there at the 11. Young straight down the middle is dragged down at the 23, where the Scarlet Knights will put it in play 1st and 10.
Butch Young was a key man last week in the win over Army. They moved him from his normal spot at left cornerback into the strong safety position to help stop that wishbone attack that Army runs so effectively. They had come into the game leading the nation in rushing yardage, and with Young doing a good job and Stowe and Oak, they bottled the wishbone. Dick Anderson said they didn't stop it, they controlled it.
Albert Smith, the tailback. Curtis Stevens gets the start today over Vernon Williams at the fullback spot. Hochberg to throw on 1st down, and he overshoots. Alan Andrews is tight end. It'll be 2nd and 10. Andrews, by the way, has 25 receptions on the season, 288 yards, 11.5 yards per catch.
Very interesting in the series thus far offensively for Rutgers, how they're trying to open up a little bit on 1st down instead of doing the run, running the sweep and the tailback-oriented offense, which they've shown thus far this year. They're going a little play-action pass. They're trying to split it up, break it up. I think it's a good thought. I think it's got to pay off for him. That time they tried to hit the tight end in the seam. He was fairly well covered. Hochberg threw it away.
On 2nd down, Hochberg, a delayed handoff to Curtis Stevens. Has a big hole, has a 1st down. He's up to the 36-yard line. Kirk Perry came up from his free safety spot to make the tackle.
Vernon Williams had been starting for Rutgers at the fullback position. he had been fumbled twice against Kentucky, and Curtis Stevens has been given the nod, primarily because of that. Dick Anderson had said during the week that they had worked on the fumbling, that they had run drills at practice, you know, where the defensive team would grab at the football, and sometimes it just happens that even a superhuman effort will not hold on to the ball, but that had not been the case with Williams, and that's why he has been benched.
We had a 5-yard face mask penalty tacked on against the Cardinals of Louisville. This year, a face masking penalty can be either 5 or 15 yards, depending upon the flagrancy. First and 10, Rutgers from the 43. Baker goes in motion, and Hochberg will put it up. Hochberg looking long for Baker, and it's incomplete. He also had Pendergrass out in the same area, and he just overthrew Baker again.
He came back to the play that Baker was wide open on in the first series, and that time the cornerback, Torrance Dickens, 32, got back there to cover Baker. They've got to look for that later on, but they've got to make these people pay short with the shorter passing game, the tight end, and in the flat to people like Baker and Prendergast. But it's interesting to see, again, first and 10, Rutgers comes with a play-action pass.
Smith again the eye back. Pendergrass and Baker are split opposite sides. Hand off to Albert Smith. Really had nothing. Finally picked up a couple of yards on his own. And the tackle was made by Brian Miller, who leads the club in tackles with 68.
Dick Anderson on the sidelines. I thought that they would come out running today. I got the feeling from talking to Anderson during the week at a press conference that he would like to do against Louisville what Rutgers did so effectively in their very impressive win over Cincinnati, where they ran the ball. They ran 72 times for 392 yards. They threw only 15 times in that game.
Third down, 8. Ball at the Rutgers 45. Hochberg has time, steps into the pocket, fires for Smith, and it is incomplete. Smith was well covered on the play. Calvert Cole right on top of Albert Smith, and Rutgers will have to punt for the first time today.
Well, when you throw as long as Hochberg has thrown today, you're obviously not going to have good stats, but all you need is one of those bombs, as we saw in that first series.
That's a very important point as we go down the line here, because this is Miller, the coach, of course, Bob Weber, the coach of Louisville, who's been there. He's in his 5th year at Louisville.
Let's go back to punt. Vaughn and Junior Jones deep for Louisville. Short kick. Vaughn has it at the 20, and he is knocked down immediately at the 22-yard line by Louis Morrow. 9 minutes, 19 seconds to go in this first quarter of play. Rutgers 7, Louisville 7.
What do you call a line of credit that can give you up to $100,000 as fast as writing a check? Powerful. Introducing the new home equity credit line from Manufacturers Hanover. It lets you take advantage of all that equity you've been building up in your home anytime for any reason. Call us at 1-800-645-6400 for a fact-filled home equity application kit. It'll help you see your home in a whole new way. That's 1-800-645-6400. Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
The Meadowlands offers the special start-to-finish excitement of nighttime thoroughbred racing. Driving power and head-to-head competition as jockey and horses won thunder to the finish line. All the action and suspense of thoroughbred racing. It happens again and again, night after night at the Meadowlands.
The Louisville Cardinals have the football, first and 10 from their own 22-yard line. Ed Rubert in the quarterback for Louisville. He's back to throwing first down. Steps in, throwing long for Ernest Gibbons. And it is incomplete. Butch Young back in coverage, and Butch Young just got back on the play.
Well, he was beaten on the play. The pass was just a little bit underthrown, allowing Young time to recover. You'll see he comes up. I do not believe that he sees the football. See, he has some depth. He's coming over now. There you see number 21 coming into the play, and you see Young just got an arm up in time. You can extend those arms as long as you don't wave them in the receiver's face. You know, Louisville came into today's game with a 2-4 record. They lost last week to Indiana State, 44-21. Indiana State is the #1 team in Division I AA.
Second down, Rubert Straight drop back, fires across the middle, almost intercepted by John Cummins, who had a clean shot at the football, but couldn't hang on.
That's an excellent play by the free safety here. The free safety Cummins times this perfectly as they throw that ball in the middle. Cummins comes up to make the play, but he contacted the offensive receiver as he went for the football and he dropped it. That's the first time we've seen a Rutgers defender close to the football. They've got to do something now. We've seen them play pretty much defense. They're in their zones. They haven't tried to put pressure on the quarterback, Rupert. I don't believe you're going to survive this day without trying to do some of that.
Rupert on 3rd and 10. Throws incomplete. Pass was intended for his fullback, John Adams. And on 4th down, the Cardinals will have to punt for the first time today.
Rutgers was sending just 3 people rushing the passes. They did not send a linebacker. Perhaps they feel that because of the size of this offensive line, their best bet is dropping people into coverage rather than attempting to put on the good pass rush.
Butch Young drops back for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Danny Surione will punt. He's a left-footed punter for the Cardinals of Louisville. That's a little bit unconventional. Butch Young, fair catch, and decides not to try to handle it. It takes a good Louisville bounce and finally rolls dead at the 27-yard line. Surione with a 50-yard boot.
You know, during the week, Dick Anderson said that Louisville is better than their record indicates, that 2-4 record. You look at the schedule and you can see why. They play West Virginia, Southern Methodist, also Houston, and the combined records of the 4 teams that Louisville has lost to is 20-2. That's very impressive. I would say that's a tough schedule, Bruce.
I would say so. They play 3 teams, Sam, highly ranked in Division I AA, as you alluded to earlier. 1st and 10, Rutgers, 27-yard line. Hochberg with a straight drop back. Throws, caught by Andrews. He caught it against his body at the 34-yard line. Todd Navarro made the stop, but Andrews shows us the ability in that one to perhaps make a great catch even when the ball isn't perfectly thrown.
On 1st and downs 10 series before, he's come up in play action. This time he just drops back and Andrews cuts across the middle, gets open underneath the linebackers and picks up 6 yards, and that puts you well ahead of average. You're now 2nd down and about 4. Good job. They keep the defense a little bit on edge. They're not expecting run or pass necessarily. Very good concept to their offense thus far today.
2nd down and 5. And there was some movement on the Louisville line. Curtis Stevens gets perhaps a free play, gets maybe a yard on the play. Brian Miller made the tackle. 23,000 fans, a sellout anticipated for this afternoon's homecoming day crowd here at Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. Rains have held up, raining early this morning, but the field is in pretty good condition.
I guess whenever you have a crowd, you have a traffic problem. I had some problems getting here today, and we got here early.
The initial indication is against the Louisville Cardinals. I believe someone jumped on that Louisville front 5. Our referee today, Wesley Ward.
Offside, the defense. 1st down.
And the Scarlet Knights will get a 1st down out of it at the 38-yard line. The rest of Wesley Ward's staff today, Hunter Jackson, the umpire, head linesman is George Maracoca, the line judge Ted Ruda, the field judge Albert Furba, and the back judge is Frank Pooley. 1st and 10, Rutgers, 38. Hochberg pitches back to Albert Smith. Smith goes down at the 39-yard line. Good pursuit by Todd Navarro and Brian Miller.
Tough place to run. Back into the sideline to the split end side. The tight end is to the field this time, Alan Andrews. They changed up 1st and 10. They came with a little short sweep to the weak side that time. Very hard to block it. Navarro, very active football player from the right or weak linebacker position, came up to make the play.
Rutgers has had pretty good balance so far this year. 147 yards per game on the ground, 165 in the air. 2nd down and call it 10 from the 38. Hochberg swings it out to Albert Smith, makes an inside cutback. He's to the 45, and Albert Smith picks up 7 on the play. Tackle made by Ray Bailey and Mike Minogue.
That was a quick screen, and you saw the 2 offensive linemen out there in front of the ball carrier, Albert Smith. Watch number 64 and number 51, Glenn Fine. Fine blocking, now leaves. You'll see him come into your picture again. There's Yudovich, and there's Fine getting the 2 key blocks. Smith cuts back for good yardage.
3rd and 3. 7-7 our score. First quarter of play, 6:42 to go. Each team scored in their opening possession. Hochberg has time, dumps it across the middle, and it's caught in the crowd by Curtis Stevens for a first down at the 50-yard line. Brian Miller was all over him along with Todd Navarro, but Stevens made the grab.
And we talked about Rusty Hochberg and his passing. Here he is hitting his fullback, swinging out of the backfield over the middle in between the two linebackers. That ball had to have something on it, had to be letter perfect. Rusty Hochberg delivered in the clutch on a third down. Continue this drive. Now they've got the ball in good field position.
Pendergrass wide right, Baker wide to the left. Hochberg goes down and his knee touched the surface at the 42-yard line. It'll be a loss of 8 on the play. And that's the first time today we saw any sign of some wet surface. He just slipped.
Yeah. No reason for it, no apparent reason. I was impressed with the way Hochberg was running in that first game against Penn State, coming back from that serious knee operation. However, I have heard that he has not been running the football well.
He doesn't seem to want to run the football, Sam, whether he's under instructions or whether he just feels from his experience last year. He's had times when he comes out on a sprint out where he can run the football because the coverage has dropped off.
2nd and 18, Hochberg across the middle, wide open Pendergrass. Pendergrass at the 35-yard line. He's dragged down at the 30 by Kirk Perry. A big play and a first down.
Of course, when you can find your wide receiver breaking over the middle like that, there is no reason to run to the football. And you've heard it 1,000 times, the dead spots in the zone. The biggest decision for those defensive backs is when do you break the zone and come in on coverage. You see nobody breaking, nobody near Pendergrass. He was a little high with a pass, but they'll take it.
First and 10, Rutgers at the 30-yard line. Albert Smith. And he is knocked down by Todd Navarro. Navarro is an outside linebacker, a senior from Marrere, Louisiana, and this is the first week that he has gotten a start off a fine performance against Indiana State, where he made 10 tackles.
Yeah, their linebackers are not very big. The defensive line is good size, bigger than the Rutgers defensive line, but the linebackers are active.
Here's the weather for today, as you see. 70 degrees, but it is very humid. Not much of a wind factor. In motion, Andrew Baker. Hochberg rolls to his right. Fires, and Baker just dropped that football. Back in the coverage was Torrance Dickens.
Very interesting, the ball on the 32-yard line, 2nd down and 10. That time, for the first time, Louisville came with the linebackers. They went man-for-man coverage, and Rusty Hochberg, instead of dropping back, got away from the rush, rolled to his right. He had the time, and Baker was open, but he just didn't find him. Man for man on the 32-yard line. Very interesting.
.440 to go. First quarter of play. Rutgers 7, Louisville 7. Rutgers with 3rd and 10 at the Louisville 31-yard line. Hochberg has time, throws to a wide open Curtis Stevens. He will go in for a touchdown. Curtis Stevens was wide open across the middle. Hochberg put it right on the numbers, and Rutgers leads 13-7.
You will see, if we get a replay of this, the linebackers blitzing on the play. You see Curtis Stevens coming out of the backfield from his fullback position. There's nobody there to cover. Deep backs have to drop back into deep coverage, covering the wide receivers and tight ends. When you send your linebackers, it's a gamble, and it's backfired on Louisville.
And just as we described it, Sam, they went man for man. The linebackers are going to be responsible for those backs, and they came wide open.
Tom Angstadt will try the point after touchdown. He's been a perfect 10 for 10 so far this year. Make that 11 for 11. Rutgers leading Louisville by a score of 14-7 in the first quarter. You're watching Rutgers football on the Madison Square Garden Network.
Enjoy all the excitement of New York Knicks basketball in person at Madison Square Garden. There's nothing like being right here at the world's most famous arena as Bernard King and the Knicks try to climb the ladder right to the top of the NBA. There are good seats available for season tickets as well as on an individual game basis. For ticket information, call 212-563-8000. Catch the action of New York Knicks basketball in person right here at Madison Square Garden.
Everyone loves a hard-hitting football game, and this fall you'll see the best the college ranks have to offer as Big Ten football comes to Madison Square Garden Network. Big Ten teams dominate the top 20 polls, and 1984 should be no exception. Powerhouses like Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and defending champion Illinois will engage in months of fierce competition to determine which school will be Rose Bowl bound. Follow Big Ten football right here on Madison Square Garden Network.
As we see the replay, we see the linebacker Miller blitzing. Ryan Miller coming from one side. As the fullback swings out of the backfield, the middle is taken away because the wide receivers have taken the deep safety away and the cornerback. And Stevens scores right up the middle with nobody on him. The linebacker disappears.
A nicely put together drive by the Scarlet Knights, and most of it in the air. So far today, Hochberg is 8 for 13. 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eric Vaughn, number 18, Junior Jones, number 6, waits for this Gary Liska kick. It's Vaughn. Vaughn to the 20-yard line and runs into a host of red shirts. And Louisville will start from deep in their own territory.
I think the Rutgers offensive line should get some credit for picking up those blitzes and also being able to vary the attack for Hochberg. There you see number 48 for Rutgers, or is that number 40, Curtis Stevens?
It was Curtis Stevens, 48.
The touchdown play, 31 yards from Hochberg to Stevens. Now we've had 3 big touchdown passes already in this first quarter of play. Louisville will start out with Ed Rubert, the sophomore quarterback from New City, New York. Rodney Knighton is his tailback. Knighton gets the pitch. Knighton gets 2 yards. Tackle made by number 90, Harry Swain, who is a backup left tackle, and also Lou Cipriano, who is a third-string right tackle.
Watch these 2 linebackers who have been a big part of the Rutgers. Ray Oak, number 44, and Tyrone Stowe. They play. If the up-front people do the job, the linebackers will make the tackle. Both of those guys lead this team in tackles.
Between them last week, they had 40 tackles.
That's a lot of tackles. 2nd and 6. Quick pass off to Rodney Knighton. Escapes 1 tackler, and then he is really belted. Oak and Pollard really leveled Rodney Knighton.
That's Pollard, who comes in as the extra back on the long yardage situation. Played a lot against, if you recall, he played a lot of football at the strong safety position against Penn State early in the season. He comes over to make a real hit. That's the controlled passing game. That time, as he dropped back, Rupert looked long, didn't see it, went short. You've got to keep those guys in front of you, and you've got to make the hit and keep them from making the first down.
3rd and 1 at the 31-yard line. Pitches to Davenport. And Ron Davenport looks like he has the first down. But it is close, and they will measure.
We talked about the size of that offensive line for Louisville. The defensive line for Rutgers is not very big. What seems to be the biggest mismatch, weight-wise anyway, is the offensive center, Greg Pianco, and George Piquel, the starting nose guard for Rutgers. It looks like they need an inch. No, it is a first down for Louisville. Anyway, I'm still trying to find out how big George Piquel is. Bob Smith says he's 230. They have him listed in the program as 230. Dick Anderson told me during the week he was 210. What do you say, Bruce? Let's get another opinion.
I say during the season they lose a little weight. So 230 at the beginning.
We average
of the
out at 220?
Yeah.
That's still a big differential because Pianco is 265, and that's a key matchup. George Piquel and Greg Pianco, Louisville's starting offensive center.
Any way you look at it, Sam, it is a significant weight difference. Draw play. Leonard Sullivan. He gets a couple of yards, and that is all. Oak was there to make the stop.
Excellent play by the linebackers again. Starting off 1st and 10, changing his offensive thinking a little bit. He runs a draw play on the first down situation, but both linebackers fill the hole perfectly. If they can keep him in the 2nd and long, now they can change their defense. If they can come with a coverage once in a while, or they can try the blitz. I would think deep in Louisville territory, they'll try and play good, sound defense here. Stay away from man coverages.
John Adams, the lone setback. Leonard Sullivan off in the wing. The quick pitches to John Adams coming out of the backfield. Gets 3 yards, and he's wrapped up by Tyrone Stowe. The pursuit so far today by the Rutgers defense has been excellent.
Well, when you throw as often as Louisville does, that's a natural complement to that passing game, the screen pass. In fact, before, that's how they scored. It was a screen pass. He had the big offensive tackle out there in front of the running back who went in for the touchdown. They tried it again. That time, Rutgers adjusted and stopped him for little yardage.
3rd and 7 for Rubert. Has time. Swings it out, and it is caught, and a first down by John Adams.
That time, 3 wide receivers. Louisville comes with their tailback from the single back situation, and as he drops back, Rupert, he looks downfield and then drops the ball off to the tailback, and he makes a great catch. We missed the tackle here by Washington. Otherwise, he would have been short of the first down, but an extra effort by Adams gets him another first down to keep the drive alive.
Lionel Washington just 1 sack this year. He led the team last year. They've been dropping him more into coverage this year. He's been playing on the weak side rather than the strong side as he did all of last season.
1st and 10, Cardinals from the 43-yard line. Rubert back to throw, steps in, the pass is deflected, and it is picked off by Roy Oates. I believe it's Jimmy Patel. Let's see. It's Tyrone Stowe comes up with the football. So Rutgers gets the first turnover of the afternoon.
It's going to... Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead. The play here is by Duffy, the defensive left end. It comes around the corner.
I believe it was 97 on the play for Rutgers. Is that Jay Getzendanner? Did they change his number?
No, that's Jimmy Patel that deflected the ball at the line.
Okay, our mistake. Patel, who comes in situations that time, hit him on the arm just as he went to throw the football, creating the interception.
Tyrone Stowe comes up with the interception. Rutgers has the football at their own 42. 1:16 left, first quarter. Rutgers leading 14-7. Hochberg's throw is incomplete. And no one was out there. Calvert Cole of Louisville was the closest man to the football.
Rutgers, one of the reasons for that 4-2 record this year is they rank as a +10 in the turnover takeaway category.
There's Jerry Peter Kuski and the defensive staff getting their defense together on the sidelines, talking to him, probably making their adjustments, telling him what they're doing right, doing wrong. The last 2 series, the Rutgers defense has stopped this very important and powerful passing offense of Louisville. Turn the ball back to the offense.
2nd and 10. Andrew Baker comes in motion. Hochberg keeps it on the ground. A big hole up the middle as Rutgers trying to churn it out on the ground. Albert Smith behind Curtis Stevens. Albert Smith leads the club in rushing with 449 yards.
When you have it...
Let's see this offensive line for Rutgers. You see a trap by Udovich coming over, and also number 76 coming over, and I believe that's Brenner. He also pulled down and wound up with a trap block. Actually, it was a double trap. Probably Brenner not supposed to trap a turn up.
3rd and 3. Hochberg looks across the middle, wide open. Scott Drake, first down. Drake at the 40, and he goes down at the 37-yard line. Calvert Cole made the tackle, but the backup tight end, Scott Drake, was wide open on the play.
We saw Scott Drake play a lot against Penn State. He's not as big as Alan Andrews, but he is quick. He slides across the middle, again in front of the linebackers. This time he's quick enough to reverse his field and get outside and make this a big play. But the key here is that Rutgers mixing up their offense. No set pattern to their 1st and 10 calls, 2nd down calls. They've got the Louisville defense, which has been very unsteady and inconsistent this year, really wondering what they're going to call next.
Some movement, no flag is down. Albert Smith with a hole on the left side. Albert Smith for the 31-yard line. 7 tough yards. Todd Navarro and Don Cosby made the stop.
Once again, you see Clement Udovich, number 64, pulling on the play, and he had a good block. And it does appear that Rutgers can do just about anything they want to do against this Louisville defense. They've run effectively, they pass short, and of course they pass long.
And that is it for the first quarter of play. The Scarlet Knights of Rutgers 14, the Louisville Cardinals 7. Back with more football in just a moment.
Maybe we should follow up.
Do you know which of these oils gives you the best engine protection under the toughest driving conditions, sub-zero cold or blazing heat? This one, Mobil 1. Now, Mobil 1 and our other fine motor oils come in this easy-pour, resealable plastic container. Mobil Motor Oil. Now it's easier to use than ever.
Your eyes are about to deceive you. Here comes Fujifilm with color picture so true to life, it's a real breakthrough. Fuji HR 1600 film. Fuji's advanced technology has developed the fastest, most light-sensitive color print film in the world. For sharp pictures with true color, under more conditions than any other film made. Get extraordinary Fuji films and get the true picture. Fuji 35mm disc and 110.
Scarlet Knights of Rutgers with a big supporting system this afternoon. Rutgers coming in today with a record of 4-2. They have lost at Penn State and at Kentucky. The Cardinals of Louisville 2-4. They won 2 in a row before losing to #1 ranked Indiana State of Division I AA. Rutgers has a drive going as we begin play here in the second quarter. The ball is at the Louisville 32-yard line. Rutgers has 2nd down and 4. And Vernon Williams gets the handoff and has a first down at the 25-yard line.
To follow up on your comment just before the end of the first quarter, Sam, the defense for Louisville is big. They've got some kids in individual positions that are pretty active, but yet they're very inconsistent. They've been that way all year. Their offense has won the ball games for them by scoring big. Today, Rutgers came in knowing they could do a variety of things, and it seems like you said they're doing pretty much whatever they want, whether it's run or pass.
The drive continues at the Louisville 26-yard line. Williams and Hooper in there in the backfield. Hochberg in trouble, and he goes down at the 35-yard line.
So number 96, Mark Brandy, the right defensive end, coming in to put pressure on Eric Hochberg. And I believe we're going to see that there's number 96. Now, see, Udovich let him go. It was evidently a screen pass, but for some reason, Hochberg did not have enough depth or could not unload the football. Maybe Udovich gave too much ground. That's the way it appears to me. Gave too much ground, allowing Brandy to come in and put pressure on Hochberg before he can unload the pass out to the flat.
2nd down and 18. Hochberg throwing long for Pendergrass, and Pendergrass ran into number 32, Torrance Dickens, and a flag is down at the 12-yard line. And it will be some type of pass interference call, I believe.
Torrance Dickens, the right cornerback, the least experienced man in that Louisville secondary. The rest of them have played together at least last year. It's an area of experience. Now you watch once again, number 96, that time being blocked clean, and you definitely see the interference there. There was definitely a collision downfield. And let's see, we still haven't gotten a verdict from the officials.
Louisville is arguing just the opposite. They feel that the offensive receiver there, Prendergast, pushed off against them, and I think they're going to convince the official.
It is illegal use of the hands against the defensive unit.
We have first half stats, Bruce. Rutgers dominated the football the first half, 183 yards to 96 to Louisville. Passing 151 for Rutgers, 83 for Louisville, 32 on the ground for Rutgers, 13 for Louisville.
Rutgers has a great opportunity here, up 14-7 early in the second period. They've moved the ball for 2 scores. If they can come up with another one here.
Illegal use of the hands on the defense. 2nd down.
If they can come up with a score here again of any kind, they're going to put Louisville in a position where they almost have to throw the football. Then that negates their running game, and I think Rutgers can play the kind of defense they've expected to today, and that is to play the pass and play it well.
So Rutgers only picks up 5 yards on the penalty, and it is still 2nd down. 2nd and 13, ball at the 29. Hochberg back to throw. Wide open is Pendergrass, and Pendergrass has it at the 17-yard line. Shy of the first down, Don Cosby made the stop.
Well, we've seen that several times, and this is a philosophy that many coaches have. When something is open, keep going back to it. Go back to it time after time. You'll see him breaking over the middle. They've got to close in on him. They've got to be aware of him. When they do that, they should open up another area.
He's a fun guy to be around, Boris Pendergrass. I was talking to him the other day. He told me he has a great love for music. If you've ever seen him in the locker room, he's always singing or dancing. And he has become a solid football player in the last couple of years. Before that, he was just a high hurdler who was trying to play football. Now he is a real wide receiver.
He block. Got a block.
1st and 10 at the 15. Dwayne Hooper, who had the winning touchdown last week against Army. He gets a couple of yards on the left side. Mike Minogue pushed him out of bounds.
Rutgers trying to run back into the sideline to the tight end, away from the field, away from where the strength of the Louisville defense that time. And here's Hooper cutting it back to the sideline. He can't get the corner quite the way he wants it because he's going to run out of ground on the left side. He runs into the sideline. But he's tough. He made a big play, as you described, against Army last week. And he probably is the better runner in close here when they're going for the score.
2nd down, 7. Hochberg swings it out to Hooper. Hooper goes nowhere. Controlled on the ground by Ron Marney. And Marney held him up.
And the reason that play will not go down here as well as it does in the open field is because they're in tight man coverage, and as he swings his fullback out this time and his tailback out, as he looks to him and throws it off, a linebacker is going to come and pick him up right away, and number 90 is also in the game, the defensive outside linebacker, Ron Marney. So they really cover it better because they're in tighter coverage down in close.
Hooper probably has a little more speed than Smith. I think that Smith is a bulkier, stronger type runner.
3rd and 11 for Rutgers. And Hochberg needs some big yardage. Swings it out to Allen Andrews. Andrews has the first down on a great move at the 7-yard line. He really faked the man out of his socks on that one. Calvert Cole went one way. Andrews went another way. A Rutgers first down.
Okay, tough pass for Hochberg. You'll see that he throws clear across the field, looking at Andrews all the way. Andrews 6 feet 5 inches. He uses all 6 feet 5 inches to snare that pass, and then, with a little extra effort, gets that first down.
Bob, would you say that Hochberg's biggest problem so far this year is throwing this pass, that cross-the-field pass?
Exactly, and he's really come alive today, and I think we talked about it earlier. Rusty looks as good today throwing the football as he has probably in his career.
1st and goal, Rutgers at the 4. Full house backfield. The pitch goes to Albert Smith, and he gets only 2.
You know, to have expected Hochberg to pick up this year where he left off last year was really unrealistic. In the 3 games that he did play extensively last year, Rutgers lost all 3 games, and they were playing catch-up all the way. Let's see the moves now by Albert Smith. Takes on that tackler and falls forward for a yard or 2. But you don't want your quarterback throwing deep as he did last year. He caught threw all those bombs to Baker, but it was a haphazard type thing. You want him more under control as he is right now.
2nd down and 2 at the 2-yard line. Albert Smith, Rutgers touchdown.
Flag on the play. Let's see what the call is. Certainly good blocking by the Rutgers offensive line. I don't believe that Smith was touched as he went through that line. Was it?
Offensive penalty has been called. Motion, illegal motion against the Rutgers team.
You see the blocking. Nobody touches him. You can't get very excited over Smith's run, but you can get excited over the blocking on the left side of that line by Clement Udovich, the left guard, and Jim Keating, the left tackle.
So it will be a 5-yard penalty against Rutgers instead of 2nd and 2. It will be 2nd and 7.
I see that Glenn Fine has been playing offensive center.
Illegal motion on the offense. 2nd down.
Joe DiGilio, probably the most experienced offensive lineman. You know the story?
No, a matter of fact, he started the football game. He's considered the most durable player. He's had 28 consecutive career starts.
Heard he was up and down a little bit this year, but be interesting to see if he had been benched for Fine.
2nd and 7, Hochberg will put it up, fires for Andrews, touchdown! Allen Andrews, the tight end, releasing to the left, and Rutgers is on the scoreboard for the 3rd time today.
That's a beautiful call, and one that usually works down in here. They came with 2 tight ends. Andrews comes from the right side, man-for-man coverage. The linebacker's got to run with him. He clears as his other tight end goes in the opposite direction, clearing out the area. Andrews is wide open. They picked the linebackers on that by both ends crossing in the end zone.
Tom Angstad will try the point after. Hochberg having some afternoon. That kick is good, and Rutgers now has a commanding lead, 21-7, with 11:20 remaining in this first quarter of play. We'll come back to Rutgers Stadium, so don't go away.
This Casino Hotel in Atlantic City is taking these few moments to wish you the best of luck. Although, to be frank, to have a good time at Bally's, you don't really need it. Bally's Arts Place Casino Hotel. Bally's, where a great time is a sure thing.
First, there's inbred American quality. Careful application, design art, and engineering science. Add the equipment that takes it one step further, and you're there. The result? The front-wheel drive Buick Skyhawk, equipped for real, is only $88.07. When your Buick dealer gives you a price for real quality, believe it.
Certainly Rutgers has dominated this first half. I don't believe that they have been stopped by Louisville. They've taken the ball 3 times, scored 3 times. You see the tight end come free. They're throwing over the middle. They're throwing into the flat. They're throwing any place they want to throw.
I think the big difference has been the ability of Rutgers on offense to just mix up their plays beautifully. Throwing and running, it takes a lot of pressure, as you know, Sam, off the offensive line. The defense is uncertain of what's coming at them. And against a club who has been very inconsistent, I think it's paying off for them early.
Gary Liska with a squib kick. Picked up by Willie Shelby. I'm sorry, by John Adams. And Adams returns the football to the 26-yard line where the Cardinals will put it in play.
Got to try to remain unpredictable, and that certainly is what Rutgers has done today. They came out throwing long. They set the defense back on their heels. Hey, we're going to throw long, and we're liable to throw at any time during this football game. The cornerbacks, the safeties concerned about that. Then they went to the shorter passing game, over the middle and into the flat.
Rubert, quick drop back. Swings it out to Ernest Gibbons. It's incomplete. Ed Rubert, a local product from Clarkstown North High School in New City, New York, just a sophomore. So far this year, over 1,300 yards in the air.
Coming into this game, Dick Anderson felt that Ed Rupert reminded him of a young quarterback he had at Penn State named Todd Blackledge, the same size, 6'5", 205, a quick arm. Reminds him because he doesn't throw many interceptions, was Anderson's word.
On 2nd and 10, Rubert to Gibbons, first down. Gibbons a little bit more, 43-yard line, quick slant pattern. Rubert put that one on the number.
Okay, it's hard to stop that. What you've got to do is really belt that receiver as he comes over. You see Butch Young, I think he's going for the football instead of getting a piece of Gibbons coming over the middle. That did not look like the Butch Young that we saw in the first game and that I saw all of last year. He's a hitter. I'm surprised he didn't rack him up that time.
43-yard line, 1st and 10. Draw play. Willie Shelby and the 5'7" running back gets to the 49-yard line. John Cummings came up to make the tackle from a safety spot. Roy Oak was there, and so was Jay Getzendanner.
Yeah, Shelby, their leading ball carrier, 447 yards and 133 carries, not very big. They take him out in short yardage situation, and they put in Ron Davenport, 6'2", 225 pounds, who has been effective for them this year. Carried 63 times for 231 yards.
2nd down and 4. Willie Shelby again. Close to the first down. Oak on the bottom of the pile. There's Alan Andrews, the big tight end, who continues to impress.
I think Alan Andrews missed the Penn State game because of injury and has come on so strong. We saw a lot of him last year, but he's got to be regarded as not only a great leader and a clutch player, but he is a top prospect on this club and probably has a future beyond college football, Sam.
A couple of pro scouts here today looking at him. He had 15 catches in Rutgers' last 2 games, 9 against Kentucky, 6 against Army, and
today 4 catches already. A little bit short of the first down. It will be 3rd down at about a yard. You talked about Willie Shelby, Sam. He's only 180 pounds, but he bench presses 315. He's compact.
That's more than Bob Casciola used to bench press.
A lot more.
Third down and 1. Rutgers 21, Louisville 7. 10 minutes left, first half of play. Handoff goes to Ron Davenport. He has the first down behind center Greg Bianco and right guard Pete Jones.
Well, you know that they're going to give the ball to Ron Davenport in short yardage situations. He has scored all 5 of the rushing touchdowns that Louisville has this year.
It'll be interesting to see whether Rutgers changes their style now on defense. They've been playing a lot of zone coverage and laying back. They really haven't come after the quarterback, Rupert, that much, but I don't know that you can sit and do that forever. I think sooner or later you have to change it up. That forces you to go to a tighter man coverage.
Rupert swings it out. Nice catch, Davenport. Davenport out of bounds at the 35 or 36-yard line. Jack LaPrairie came up to make the stop, and Rupert, who during the season has thrown to a lot of different receivers, goes to his fullback right there.
They intended to redshirt Rupert last year. An injury to D. May forced him in action in the 8th game of the season. They saw nobody on him. I don't...
It's got to be a linebacker who's got to be responsible, and I think he got tied up in the middle as the offensive line came off. It could be, yeah.
They shouldn't have blocked him, obviously.
It was good enough for a first down for the Cardinals at the Rutgers 35-yard line, so the drive continues. Rodney Knighton is the tailback. Knighton looking for some running room. A yard on the play. Tom Duffy, who's really come on at the outside linebacker position, made the tackle. Duffy started the season behind Paul Halata, but has moved up. He has 25 tackles on the season.
He leads the team with 7 tackles for a loss. So obviously they've been sending him, and he will react quickly and perhaps gamble a little bit.
Second down and 9 yards to go. Split backs this time, and Rupert will put it up, and he goes down. There was some pressure coming in the form of Roy Oak, but Rupert, much as Hochberg did earlier today, simply lost his footing and took the loss.
I think that they just decided the ball sitting on the 35-yard line. They can play receivers a little tighter. They're running out of area, and that time they decided to come with a linebacker. I don't know that he would have gotten to him, but I think he would have forced Rupert to get the ball off sooner, so they've got to make that change.
Bob, this season, only 6 sacks in 230 pass plays. That says something about the offensive line. It is third down and 16. Rupert swings it out to Davenport, and he is tackled immediately. Good pursuit by Roy Oak and by Jimmy Piquel. Flag down.
Getzendemmer, backup defensive tackle, was teeing off with Hernan Kubertroff, the offensive tackle for Louisville. Kubertroff, 6'4", 275 pounds. Let's see who's going to get the penalty, but Getzendemmer lost his helmet.
It's against both. That's that neutral penalty. You know that one, Sam. Personal foul, both sides.
Yeah, it's another mismatch in size anyway. Kubertroff, 275 pounds. Getzendemmer listed at 230.
You mentioned earlier that as far as the Rutgers defense goes, without the linebackers coming, you've got to get super efforts out of certain people. One person who's played great all year is George Piquel, the nose tackle, most active with 26 tackles. Piquel hasn't really been seen today. I think he's up against a lot of size and some really very experienced pass protection blockers.
I would think that perhaps his best bet is to hit and try to disengage quickly, perhaps go under or around the block rather than over that offensive center.
We have offsetting penalties. Personal foul on each squad. It will be 4th down and 16 for Louisville. The Louisville team has yet to send on their punting unit.
Dick Anderson, coming into this game, was concerned about a letdown after the Army victory. He felt that his team was playing well, and he was also concerned about the pass offense that they hadn't seen all year.
So the punting team comes on and the Rutgers return team comes on. This program, by the way, is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated, solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event, including the imposition of a charge for viewing the program without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated, is prohibited. And the announcers on this telecast were selected by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated.
We've got something going on the field here, very interestingly. They're bringing that offense back on and declaring it first down. Now we've got to get a ruling on this.
Well, you think that Louisville doesn't throw the football against Murray State. They opened with Murray State. They threw the football 55 times with 29 completions for 393 yards. They will air it out.
Well, as Bob mentioned, Louisville has a first down now at the Rutgers 46-yard line. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit confused up here.
Well, we haven't gotten a signal yet from the referee, but here he comes.
Well, we're not going to get an explanation, so we'll try to clear that up for you a little bit later in the telecast. Louisville, in any event, has the football wide to the left side. Ernest Givens comes to the right, and the handoff to Rodney Knighton. Knighton gets 3 yards. Louisville has not run the football well today. It's been one of their problems throughout this season.
Getzendenner evidently was thrown out of the game, according to the report we just received, and there you see him, not very happy about it. Requires different ability to run block as opposed to pass protection. On pass protection, you just sit there, especially when you're as big as these guys, and defy people to go over you or around you. Run block requires more agility, more balance, more athletic ability.
2nd down and 6. Rupert's pass caught by Eric Vaughn. Vaughn at the 35-yard line. Butch Young pushed him out of bounds, close to a first down.
Butch Young working against Eric Vaughn here. Vaughn playing zone coverage, just came down and did a sideline on him. When you play zone, it's tough to cover that pattern. You got to get underneath help, and the linebacker, in that particular case, the outside linebacker to that sideline of Washington, has to drop off and give him support. He just didn't quite get there. Another first down for Louisville.
They have good speed at all of the wide receiver spots. They've been averaging 14.95 yards a completion. Indicates they will throw long, too.
1st and 10. Louisville at the Rutgers 35. In motion, Preston Gray. Rupert back to throw. Fires, and it is almost caught and then dropped. He threw into a crowd that time, and Carl Williams, the senior from Atlanta, Georgia, almost pulled it in.
Yeah, Carl Williams should have had it. The ball hit him right in the numbers. He gets his arms around it. You'll see Butch Young behind him dislodge the football. And actually, I believe Young did strip him of the ball. Came up. You put your arm up on top of the receiver's arm and you yank down, and he just did dislodge. What are you smiling at?
That's a tough pass to throw. 3 or 4 hands are up, and you still get it to your receiver. 2nd down and 10. Rupert being forced out of the pocket. Throws incomplete through the hands of Willie Shelby. Should have had it. It brings up 3rd and 10.
Very interesting to see Rupert flushed out, and when he's flushed out, he doesn't seem to throw as well. That time he got outside to contain and really was looking to the front side to throw the football as he comes out here.
He does not move well.
And as he starts to move here, he looks back against the grain, which is very difficult to do when you're going in one direction. He's lucky they didn't get an interception.
7:24 to go, first half. Rutgers off 3 Eric Hochberg touchdown passes, leading Louisville 21-7. Rupert to throw on 3rd and 10. He's in trouble, and he goes down. That is the first sack against Louisville in 13 quarters, and Harry Swain, the man to do it.
Even more remarkable is the fact that Rutgers was sending just 3 defensive linemen. They have 5 offensive linemen blocking on 3. That's inexcusable. Someone became overly aggressive. Let's see him now. He's coming from the right side of your screen. Number 90 beats his man. The quarterback stepped up probably, and he shouldn't have stepped up into that seam between the nose tackle and Harry Swain, number 90, who eventually brought down Rupert.
We have an injured player for the Louisville Cardinals on the field, and while we have the injury, we'll take a break. Rutgers leading Louisville 21-7, 7:12 to go in this first half of play.
The first night he stole her diaries.
The odds against a crook being sensitive enough to get into your diaries is about 1,000,000,000 to 1.
The second night he read her fantasies.
I know he's reading them. I can feel him turning the pages.
The third night he started to live them.
The only thing you need to know about me is this.
Thief of Hearts, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
We need another set of drawings.
I just did it, sir.
We changed something.
But we just changed
We
it.
have to change the change.
I just changed the change.
You have to change the change that you changed.
But I already
While
changed
your
the change.
competitors are still trapped doing things the old way, you can be a generation ahead of them. With Data General's computer-based engineering systems, you can design and test prototypes by computer. And Data General systems are so compatible, they can even link up with the leading mainframe to keep you a generation ahead of your competitors. Data General.
A generation ahead.
The injured Louisville player was number 60 left guard Mike Vito, and he is being helped off the field. He will be replaced by Keith Price, a junior left guard. So far today, Hochberg 13 of 19, 180 yards. Ruber 10 of 17, 115 yards.
Well, and Rutgers had given up coming into today's game an average of only 116 yards via the pass.
4th down and 11, and the Cardinals will go for it. Ruber throwing for all the marbles, and we have a pass interference penalty coming up. The pass would never have been caught, but Dan McHarris simply grabbed the jersey of Mr. Vaughn, Eric Vaughn, and it will be a first down for the Louisville Cardinals. Will be marked off, remember, from the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's easy to determine what McHarris was thinking. He was thinking, I'm beat, they've got a touchdown, I might as well grab him. But actually it was a poor play because the ball was overthrown, and he also had some help from John Cummins. But although I don't think Cummins was in a position to really interfere with the ball, but you see him tugging on his jersey, pulled him around, a flagrant. That may be the most flagrant holding in the secondary I've ever seen.
That's the inexperience of a freshman. He played very well last week, and they've been playing him more each week, each game. But McHarris played very well against Army, and he got caught that time, and he did the next best thing, he grabbed, but it was unfortunate.
Yeah, we're talking about Rupert, who has already thrown for 115 yards. Rutgers only allowing 116 yards a game, but teams have only thrown, coming into today's action, 34% of the time against Rutgers. Teams will take what they can get. They have been able to run effectively against Rutgers, 178 yards a game. That's what they've gone to.
First down off the pass interference call. And Louisville keeps it on the ground this time. Leonard Sullivan has some running room, breaks away from a couple of people. He's down to the 15-yard line before Jim Piquel made the stop. By the way, in that pass interference call, it was 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. That's one of the rule changes this year.
Very interesting call here. Coming with a misdirection play, counter play with the tailback Sullivan coming back to the right side. He gets hit right there by LaPrairie, but he stays on his feet. Good balance, makes good yardage. Down in close here. Rutgers is almost forced to go man for man. They've got to play tight, and you may see Louisville come to their very strong tight end receiver, Bruce Armstrong, who may be covered by a linebacker.
2nd and 3, Louisville at the Rutgers 15-yard line. Ed Rubert puts it up for Eric Vaughn. He's got his man beat, but the pass is overthrown. Back in coverage was Steve Twombly. It will bring up a 3rd and 3 for the Cardinals.
Not a long pass route, but you saw some speed. Vaughn has speed. Ernest Givens, the fastest of their wide receivers. Then comes Eric Vaughn. Both Givens and Vaughn were junior college transfers who joined the team this year, and obviously have been very effective. As coming into today's action, Louisville was ranked 7th in the nation passing.
3rd and 3, Louisville at the Rutgers 15, trailing 21-7, 6:16 left first half. Rubert, quick out pattern, incomplete, intended for Preston Gray, a sophomore from Louisville. Steve Twombly back in coverage.
Again, here's an interesting situation there. 4th down, will they trailing 21-7? Will they go for 3, or will they try to go for a touchdown? They've got a good place kicker on that sideline, and they've elected to go for the kick.
Phil Ellis will come on to try the field goal. Phil Ellis is a conventional style kicker. He is really part of a vanishing breed. Only 9 straightaway kickers are left in all of college football at the Division 1A level. This will be a 32-yard attempt. Jeff Griffin will hold. Ellis's kick is up. He has the distance and the height, and he is perfect. So Phil Ellis, now 6 for 10 in the field goal department this year. Louisville has cut the Rutgers lead to 21-10 with 6:10 remaining in the first half. You're watching Rutgers football on Madison Square Garden Network.
The New York Knicks, the New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils. 3 professional home teams planning to make 1984-85 a banner season on the Madison Square Garden Network. The Knicks have emerged as one of the NBA's top teams, and Coach Hubie Brown is gearing up for a run at the championship. All-star forward Bernard King and the rest of the Knicks will give it all they've got to reach basketball's summit. The Rangers have been a hometown favorite for 58 seasons, and their 59th shapes up as one of their best. Watch Captain Barry Beck and standout goalie Glenn Hamlin challenge the NHL and send Garden fans into a frenzy. And across the river, the New Jersey Devils are a team on the rise, trying to make their mark in the powerful Patrick division. All of the fast-paced action is right here on the Madison Square Garden Network. The Knicks, the Rangers, and the Devils. We bring legends to living room.
We have a development while we've been away. Louisville had just converted a 32-yard field goal, but on the play, there was a flag. Rutgers called for offsides. The field goal, Louisville will not take it. They'll take the first down instead. So now they have a 1st and goal just inside the 10-yard line. Score is back to 21-7, and the Cardinals with the football. Back to throw, Rubert to the corner of the end zone, caught by Preston Gray for a touchdown. And so Louisville now has cut the lead to 21-13 instead of 21-10. Rubert right on the money with that touchdown pass.
That was just what they call a fade pattern, where the wide receiver just breaks to the outside. Twombly, the sophomore, is covering him here. Perfectly thrown pass over the outside shoulder. The defensive back has no chance, and the receiver keeps his feet in bounds as he makes the touch. And that was a big play. 3 crucial penalties killed Rutgers in that drive, which led to sustaining this drive for Louisville and getting a score.
Phil Ellis now will try the point after. And his kick is up, and it is good. And the Cardinals of Louisville, wait a second, we have a flag down on the play to hold everything. It's offside against Rutgers. The extra point is good. It will be assessed in the kickoff, and our score is 21 Rutgers, 14 Louisville. Totally different ball game now, Bob.
Yeah, watch the touch on this pass now. Rupert doesn't try to overwhelm him. He's got to loft the ball. They used to be reluctant to do this because you were backed up or you didn't have much room to throw the football, but you saw the perfect loft on that. That's called touch, and evidently Rupert has it.
Well, the difference there, it really turns around this game. Being 21-10 to 21-14, we're talking about 1 touchdown. Rutgers holds them after 2 penalties. Louisville elects to go for 3. Rutgers, Butch Young, coming in from the left side as he was offside on this last extra point, was offside against the field goal, which gave them a chance to get a first down, and then they decided to go for the touchdown.
Because it's not the number of penalties that you get in the game, but certainly when they occurred, and those 3 penalties just gave Louisville the touchdown. They did control the ball for 18 plays, however, and quite a bit of time on the clock.
There's Coach Bob Weber. Bob Weber's in his 5th year at Louisville, and he likes playing tough opponents. He feels it makes his players tougher. He wants to stay with a big-time program, and he also thinks it helps him to attract the kind of players he needs to make this a winning program. This is his 5th year at Louisville.
Dan McHarris and Butch Young go back deep, and Phil Ellis will kick off for Louisville. Long first half. 35.
Sorry.
No, Danny Surion does the punch. 35 points on the scoreboard. And it will be McHarris at the 6-yard line. Dan McHarris to the 20. Pretty cutback. McHarris to the 40. And Rutgers will get excellent field position.
Well, he got back the 20 yards. He cost Rutgers on that holding penalty, but it doesn't balance out, does it?
It's a great return here. He gets some good blocking. As he starts up the middle, the seam opens up for him. Gets a great block right there at about the 15-yard line. He has the speed to break it outside, and here he cuts again. Danny Harris now lowers that shoulder to get a few extra yards before he's pushed out of bounds up over the 40-yard line.
Hochberg to throw on 1st and 10. Steps in the pocket. Beautiful throw to Boris Pendergrass. First down at the 44-yard line of Louisville. And Pendergrass starting to run precise patterns.
That's a beautiful execution by Hochberg. Again, they're changing around their offense. 1st and 10. Instead of play action, he comes out on the sprint out. As he turns up the corner, his receiver, Prendergast, turns back to him wide open, and he delivers the ball right on the money.
Between the 2 deep backs and the linebacker, Brian Miller, who was dropping and did not come up to cover that rollout by Hochberg.
1st and 10, Scarlet Knights, 5:37 left. First half of play, Rutgers by 7 to Wayne Hooper. Hurdles over 1 man, then he is really popped by Don Cosby, the junior from Madison, Indiana.
Once again, Clement Yudovich, a fine block as he pulls out. Watch number 64. The thing that I like that he does here, watch him throw his body. It's something you rarely see. Everybody's standing up. There you saw number 64 bring down number 34, Brian Miller, one of those inside linebackers who is leading the Louisville team with 68 tackles.
2nd down, 7. Hooper is the I-back. Rockford, plenty of time, fires to Baker, incomplete.
There's a late hit.
Late hit by number 1, Kirk Perry, and that will be
That's a good
penalty.
call. That's a good call. It was way after the play. As Andrew Baker comes down to turn in, the ball's a little bit behind him, giving the defensive back a chance to get his hand in there to make the play. And way after it's all over, here comes Perry right in the...
Yeah, well, I gotta believe that he believed that he had the football. Right. It's hard to envision that, but Perry is a good defensive back, the fastest in that defensive backfield. The pros are supposedly interested in him. He tied for 7th in the nation last year with 7 interceptions, made All-South as an independent selection.
He's a big-time player, probably the best, one of the best in the country.
Personal foul on the defense. First down.
By the way, we've yet to get an explanation on that penalty situation early in the 2nd quarter, and we'll do our best to let you know later in the football game what happened. In any event, Rutgers has a 1st down off the 15-yard personal foul at the Louisville 26-yard line. Hochberg, quick out to Pendergrass. He has it. Pendergrass slides away from one man, loses his footing, goes down at the 18.
Of course, he was expected to get much or any yardage after catching the football. And Dwayne Hooper, you'll see him come into your picture, number 43. I believe he does pick up a block for Pendergrass. Watch number 43, and I think he gets something on number 3. Well, he misses, but he forced number 32, Torrance Dickens, to move up toward the line of scrimmage, allowing Pendergrass to go around.
Coming into this game, Sam, half the Rutgers receptions either went to Baker or Alan Andrews. Today, they're utilizing Boris Pendergrass. 2nd
down and 2, and straight up the middle, Vernon Williams hurdling for a 1st down at the 15-yard line of Louisville. And the Rutgers drive continues with 4:15 left in the 1st half of play. I'm Bruce Beck along with Sam DeLuca and Bob Cassiola from Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. This is homecoming day, 1984, and an excellent crowd of 23,000 plus, sold out facility here at Rutgers Stadium. A lot of alumni, a lot of fans coming back to see the Scarlet Knights, a rejuvenated team, 4-2 coming into today's game. From the 15-yard line, Rutgers on the ground. Hooper with some running room. Flags are down all over the place as Hooper battles to the 8-yard line before Don Cosby and Todd Navarro made the tackle.
I believe you'll see the right defensive end, number 68, go off sides on the play if we have a replay of that, but there was certainly somebody who did move prior to the snap.
Penalty signaled against Louisville.
Very interesting as they continue to mix up their offense, Rutgers with the pass and with the run. Now they're deep in Louisville territory, and as we've said earlier, they really have, nobody's really stopped them. If anything, they've stopped themselves on a few occasions, but basically they've done pretty much what they want to do. Now they're going to have the ball deep in Louisville territory with a 2nd down and about 5. Ball sitting.
Offsides on the defense. 1st down.
Ball sitting just outside the 10-yard line, and that's a pretty good situation to be with an offense. You can do pretty much whatever you want. You've got 4 downs to make a 1st down here.
So with the 5-yard penalty, it is 1st and 5 for the Scarlet Knights at the 11-yard line. Dwayne Hooper behind Vernon Williams, turns the corner. He's at the 5, he's at the 4-yard line, and he has a 1st down. Calvert Cole and Don Cosby in the secondary made the tackle.
Yeah, they've got a tough defensive secondary, does Louisville. It's experienced. 3 of them played there last year. You'll see some pretty good speed by Dwayne Hooper as he strives to beat Cosby, number 26, to the sideline and make that turn. Couldn't quite get there. However, I think a man downfield actually allowed Cosby time to come up and make that tackle.
Now in this situation, Rutgers comes with the extra tight end, Scott Drake, along with Alan Andrews, and they bring another tailback, Albert Smith, in, and they'll be in a power I set. A tight formation, 3 deep running backs.
1st and goal at the 4. And we have flags down on the play.
This is a bad penalty. It's what I think it is. It's going to be too much time.
Because when they're in that I formation, it is most effective running between the tackles. You can run some play action off it or some counters, the sprint draw. When a back does break to the outside from the power I, let's hear it.
25-second violation. First down.
That is inexcusable. When a back does break to the outside, it's usually because he's decided to run there on his own. He's seen some opening. Because one of the advantages also of that power I, you can run to either side effectively.
Second down and 9 now at the 9. Rutgers had the situation early in the football game, and Hochberg threw to Andrews for a touchdown. Let's see what he does here. Baker goes in motion. Hochberg pitches out to Hooper. He's in trouble, and he goes down in the arms of Todd Navarro, but there were 4 or 5 white shirts that turned that play in.
That's a very bad choice by the running back, Hooper. As he comes out here, he's got to be able to cut it up. Right now, he sees he's outmanned to the outside. He decides, because he's had success, to get outside to try and do it. When you're in this situation, you can't afford to lose yardage. You got too many points on the line.
Well, he had number 81 Baker trying to block on Torrance Dickens. Baker threw the body, but he didn't quite get Dickens off his feet. Smith saw him break, made the break to the outside, but of course the cornerback was there waiting for him.
And Rutgers is confused one more time, and Hochberg has to use a timeout with 2:07 remaining, and the Scarlet Knights leading 21-14. He comes over to talk to Coach Dick Anderson.
You can see that Anderson is very upset on the sideline, upset because he sent the play in plenty of time. The quarterback probably didn't understand it quite fully, so he took the timeout. But the penalty before, when you take too much time down in close, basically that's a substitution penalty. It isn't the quarterback. You got to give that credit or really take that credit away from the bench. And I think they made a big mistake when they had the chance inside the 5-yard line to take too much time in the huddle penalty.
Wayne Moses is the man talking to Eric Hochberg. He's upstairs talking on headset to Dick Pearl, the offensive coordinator, who sends the plays down the line.
In this situation, sitting outside now at the 15-yard line, looking down at the 2nd and 17, it's going to be very hard to do anything but throw the football. The question is, will Louisville go man for man?
You see Eric Hochberg having a good afternoon, 15 for 21, 204, 3 touchdowns. Has he thrown an interception? No, he hasn't.
And Bob, you've seen him play a lot this year. Doesn't he appear to you today to show the most poise, the most patience that he's shown all year long?
Well, we always said, even in the beginning of the year, after last year, that he's a gutsy, talented kid who really is a great competitor and leader. It's just a question of his passing ability. Undoubtedly today, he's found it.
Second down, 17 for the touchdown. Hochberg, play action, in trouble, throws incomplete, and strong pressure. That time came from the inside of that Louisville front line, and it will bring up 3rd and long.
You see, on that play, he showed me a little poise and a little confidence and presence of mind. He had no chance of completing this pass. The people were in front of him. Well, he didn't have time now to throw deep into the end zone. He had elected to throw the football away. He obviously didn't see Baker, was looking to his left. The point I was making is that
he didn't give it up.
That's right. He threw it well in front of the defenders, who were the only people who could have caught the football.
3rd and 17. Hochberg throws to Andrews. Gets to the 9-yard line. Navarro made the tackle. It will be 4th and 9 for a touchdown, and Tom Angstedt and the field goal team check onto the field.
That was a position pass, really. They knew probably they couldn't get in the end zone with it, so they decided to go to the tight end and get it a little bit closer for Angstedt, make it a little closer for him to try and hit this field goal. Rutgers has to come away with points here. They've given up 2 opportunities to score, one on offense and one on defense, when they took away a field goal and gave a touchdown to Louisville on 2 consecutive penalties.
Scott Drake will hold. Tom Angstedt will try a 27-yard field goal. And the kick is up. And it is good. Angstedt enjoying an outstanding season. 14 for 18 in the field goal department, and Rutgers has now opened up a 10-point lead, 24-14, with 1:19 remaining in this first half of play.
Well, as I said at the start of the game, I hadn't seen Eric Hochberg since that first game against Penn State. And when I had asked, how is he doing, I got varied opinions. Inconsistent, up and down, hasn't delivered in 3rd down situations when he's had to find his receiver. And my immediate reaction was perhaps they were expecting too much of him, because in his 3 outings last year, all in losses incidentally, playing catch-up, he really was spectacular. I mean, bombs and throwing repeatedly. And based on what I've seen today, I've got to conclude that perhaps I was right, that perhaps expectations were too high.
I think you're right, and I think what's happened too as he moves into this season, they've probably got themselves settled on the things he can do best, and today they've attacked the defense by letting him throw the kind of passes he throws well. And he's opened up a whole new ball game with Prendergast becoming a key receiver. Now they're going to 3 receivers instead of exclusively 2 as they had most of the season.
Gary Liska's kick is returned by Junior Jones, who gets to the 28-yard line. And that's where the Cards will take over. 1st and 10, the last Rutgers scoring drive, 50 yards in 8 plays. It took 4 minutes and 41 seconds. And Angstad, who continues to excel in the field goal department, nailed that one from 27. Good news for Rutgers fans. Angstad will be a 5th-year senior in 1985, so he still has another year of eligibility. He was a walk-on as a sophomore and therefore gets an additional year. Ed Rubert will try to get some points back in a hurry. Throws across the middle. It's grabbed by Danny Thomas, the backup tight end. And Danny Thomas rambles to the 41-yard line. With 1 minute and 7 seconds and a hurry-up offense, Louisville still has some time.
Louisville also has 3 timeouts left, and knowing the way they play, they're looking to get a score here before the half.
Rubert checks his receivers, barks some signals. A minute exactly remaining in the first half. Rubert, quick drop back, just threw that one away to give himself some time and call a play in the huddle.
What he did exactly right, Bruce. He just came up on the line of scrimmage, wanted an automatic. He didn't like what he saw, so he threw it away, stopped the clock, and now he can settle into what he wants to call.
Number 5, James Jones.
Rutgers content 10-point lead here to play defense. They rushed with only 3 people the last time. Let's see if they do it again, defending with 8.
Wide to the right side, James Jones. Wide to the left, Eric Vaughn. Back to throw is Rubert. Across the middle, incomplete. Flag is down in the backfield. The pass was intended for Danny Thomas, but a flag all the way back in the backfield, which usually indicates offensive holding, but we'll wait and see.
And once again, there were 5 offensive linemen on 3 rushers for Rutgers. They were not sending the linebacker. They elected to drop him into coverage. Once again, inexcusable. The Rutgers defensive line has done fairly well. They sacked Rupert earlier. They put pressure on him another time. Let's see, who is that coming? There you see the holding. Is that, I couldn't get the number.
It may have been Paul Halata, who was coming in from the far side, the defensive end, being held by the offensive left tackle, Kubatroff, and he put a good hold on him, and the referee caught him.
2nd down and 25 now for the Cardinals. Ball all the way back to the 31-yard line. 50 seconds left, first half. Rutgers 24, Louisville 14. Out pattern is complete to Willie Shelby, who dives out of bounds and will stop the clock. He's up to the 37-yard line, and we have 46 ticks remaining.
Of course, Rutgers right now is in their prevent defense. That's why they're rushing just 3 people. They'll gladly concede the short pass, but that pretty much jibes with Dick Anderson's defensive philosophy. He said early on in the year when I asked him that the primary goal was to have a disciplined defense that doesn't give up the big plays, make them go up and down the field in 12 to 15 play drives, and give them a chance to make a mistake.
3rd down, 13. Rubert throwing long for Givens, who has the speed. It's incomplete. Pass was overthrown. Cummins and Young had Givens pretty well covered.
That time Young gave him the kind of cushion he needed. He didn't get up in his face and run with him because Givens has proven he can outrun these people. He gave him enough of a cushion and also gave his free safety a chance. Cummins, who's an excellent player, played very well this senior. John Cummins to come over from that position and back him up.
Cummins didn't start last year, but he's played very well this year. In fact, he leads the team with 3 interceptions.
4th and 13. This is a big punt for left-footed Danny Serione. If he goes short, Rutgers with 40 seconds to go might try to punch in another score. Serione's punt is fairly short. Young calls a fair catch. Well, a short punt, Sam. That's at the 21-yard line. I guess that's not too short, is it?
I think that, well, with 33 seconds left, what do you think, Bob? They might
I think they'll be happy with a 10-point lead. I think they'll go into halftime with a 10-point lead. But the way they've been throwing the ball on first down today, they may prove us all wrong.
42-yard punt by Surion. Rutgers 24, Louisville 14, 33 seconds left first half.
How about a screen or a draw? That's always a safe bet. You can't get burned on that one.
And the defense is yelling, watch the screen and watch the draw. Watch the long pass. Watch everything.
Well, let's see. Only one setback. You've got wide receivers both sides of the field. Let's see if Hochberg takes a shot in this first down. Draw play.
Good call.
And the handoff to Vernon Williams. He gets maybe a yard. And he is stopped by Larry Galsick.
Yeah, when you're leading 24-14, again with just 33 seconds as they got the ball, now it's down to 19 seconds. Really no time to gamble. There's no reason to air it out and perhaps have the opposition come up with an interception, run it back, and get a field goal out of it.
And it all depends on field position. Had they had the ball up maybe around the 40-yard line, it would have been worth it. But they're too deep in their own territory to try it.
Well, that will do it for the first half of play.
Joe Zawadzki, the team physician, looking at Lee Getz, offensive guard.
24-14, Scarlet Knights of Rutgers lead the Cardinals of Louisville. We'll be back with our halftime show in just a moment.
If a restaurant charges you extra just because you paid with a credit card, you'd probably never go there again. But that's what some gas stations are trying to get away with. Look, they say their cash island costs less. That means their credit card island costs more. Getty doesn't go in for that kind of fancy footwork. Cash, Visa, or MasterCard, it's the same low price. You don't pay a penny more to charge. We give you more credit than that. At Getty, the proof is at the pump.
The Meadowlands offers the special start-to-finish excitement of nighttime thoroughbred racing. Driving power and head-to-head competition as jockey and horses one thunder to the finish line. All the action and suspense of thoroughbred racing. It happens again and again, night after night at the Meadowlands.
About the University of Louisville, you talk about big-time college basketball, but now there's a change. They're talking about the future of college football. And joining me to help discuss the matter is Bill Olson, the athletic director at the University of Louisville. Bill, where is this college football program headed?
Bruce, we're striving to bring excellence to our football program just as we have in basketball. We've improved our schedule. We've improved the quality of our football players that we have representing us, and we're trying to move into a top 20 caliber football program at Louisville.
Are you involving the corporate community as well?
We sure do, and we're getting great support in Louisville from our corporate community. We get game sponsors for each one of our home games, and the game sponsor commits a lot of funds for us, and we use that to promote the game. And by getting the corporate community involved, we're getting larger attendance at our games and get more involvement from the people in our community that is important to the university, important to our athletics.
What do the schedules look like 2, 3, 4 years down the line?
Schedules in the future will have teams like Syracuse will continue to play Rutgers. We have the University of Miami, Southern Methodist University, the University of Houston. We're trying to play teams that are major independents that will play us on a home and away basis in Louisville. We have a lot of Big Ten teams coming on the schedule, Indiana, Illinois, Purdue. Teams like that, of that caliber, are the kind of teams that we're scheduling. And back home, Western Kentucky and teams Eastern Kentucky that are regional rivals, those are important to us.
Let's talk about your favorite topic, college basketball. What's the story this year with the enlargement of Freedom Hall, and how does Denny Crum's troops round up for 84-85?
Freedom Hall at one time was maybe the best basketball facility in the whole world, and it got passed up in recent years by many other facilities. We've just renovated Freedom Hall with a $13 million renovation. We have executive suites almost at courtside, new locker room, press facilities, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air to our basketball program. We feel that Denny Crum is one of the premier college basketball coaches in the United States, and this brings him back into a competitive advantage that he needs in recruiting and attracting the kind of players that we've been used to having at Louisville.
We know you'll be tough once again. Bill, thanks for stopping by and sharing some thoughts with us.
Thank you, Bruce.
Bill Olson, the athletic director at the University of Louisville. We'll have more halftime festivities in a moment. You're watching Rutgers football on Madison Square Garden Network.
Dim the lights and raise the curtain. October is a month of opening nights on Madison Square Garden Network. Get ready for the start of the 1984 hockey season as the New York Rangers take the ice. Last year, the Rangers had their best record since 1972. And this year, the Broadway Blues are focusing their sights even higher. Across the Hudson, it'll be the New Jersey Devils' turn to impress the NHL as the Devils begin a new campaign with rookie head coach Doug Carpenter. They'll host the Patrick Division rival Islanders, Flyers, and Rangers during the month of October. October also means the start of basketball with preseason action of the New York Knicks, plus their regular season debut against the Detroit Pistons on Saturday the 27th. You'll also see the opening night of the National Horse Show, as well as boxing, wrestling, and college football. October is a month of new beginnings, and it's all yours on Madison Square Garden Network, where we bring sports fans to their feet.
You can find the speed, power, and excitement of NHL hockey all season long in one place, Madison Square Garden Network. First, you'll have a center-ice view of all New York Rangers home games, with Captain Barry Beck spearheading the defense, goalie Glenn Hanlon denying the opposition, and the Ranger forward line displaying the speed and motion that is the Rangers' trademark under Coach Herb Brooks. The Rangers are aiming for the top, and MSG Network will be there all the way. The center ice view continues on MSG Network with the New Jersey Devils. A young and spirited Devils team under new coach Doug Carpenter is looking to move up in the tough Patrick Division, and they'll concede nothing as they take on their division rivals and the other top teams in the NHL. You'll catch all the action when MSG Network presents both the Rangers and the Devils. From opening face-off to final horn, preseason to playoffs, the place to be for NHL action is Madison Square Garden Network.
Our score at halftime, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers 24, the Cardinals of Louisville 14. And it's a pleasure right now to welcome Bob Sims, Rutgers class of 1960, an outstanding football player for the Rutgers University Scarlet Knights, and now chairperson of the Scarlet R Club at Rutgers University. Bob, what is the Scarlet R Club?
The Scarlet R is the fundraising side, the athletic fundraising side of the foundation. There are 5,000 members. I'm the chairman. This last year, we raised $700,000. All of that money goes to the sport of 32 different intercollegiate sports at the university. Scholarships, programs, you name it. It's the guts of the annual giving for the foundation.
Do you see a change in the attitude and the perception of people today with the Rutgers University athletic program?
Well, we had a terrific year last year. We were up 18%, and that's looking into a year where we thought it would start all over. We luckily got a terrific coach, terrific staff, not a great recruiting year, and we're going to have a winning season. You can see today this makes it. This makes the season. The season was made when they beat Syracuse. This coming year will make the difference. We'll see when the Scarlet R, the new members show up. We'd like to have a lot more than 5,000 members. We'd like to have each give more money than they gave last year. This university and this team is on the way to becoming the spirit of the state, and they deserve it.
Bob, how different is football here at Rutgers today than it was when you played football here in 1959 or so?
Well, I'll give you a couple of statistics. I was looking at the program. I thought I was one of the biggest guys on our team in 1960, 59 year. There are 4 tight ends on there that are my size, and they're not even on the field, all right? The players are bigger. There are more of them. The facilities are bigger. The university is bigger. There were 3,500 kids here in New Brunswick. When I started, there are now 17,000. It's a gigantic operation. The team is what it is. It's on the way to real big time.
We're taking a look at the scoreboard right now, and I just want you to give us a little comment about the scoreboard today. You donated it to the Rutgers University.
Well, I'm thrilled about it. It's my way, or me and my brother's way, of giving a little bit back to the university. The university gave 4 of us 16 years of a college education. I wouldn't be here today if Harvey Harmon hadn't pulled me out of the hills of West Virginia, sent me to Rutgers, and got me the education I have today, and I'm giving a little back, and I'm proud of it.
Bob Sims, Rutgers class of 1960. Right now, let's go down to Sam and Bob.
Well, thank you, Bruce. You know, Bob, we frequently talk about strengths and weaknesses on the offense or defense in trying to determine what a team is going to do. Sometimes I think preference is really it. And I think that the emphasis today has certainly been on the pass, and both teams have thrown very well.
I think they both have. We knew Louisville could. We questioned whether Rutgers could. We come here and see how Rutgers opened up this game. Early in their series, Rusty Hochberg's going to drop back here, set up on a straight drop back action, and hit his freshman wide receiver, Brian Cobb, right up the sideline. Beautifully executed play, never breaks stride, and he goes in for a 7-0 score.
Well, the next time that Rutgers got the football, they also scored. In fact, they seemed to be able to do just about anything they wanted to do in the first half. Started out throwing long, went to the short pass, ran effectively. Once again, you'll see Hochberg set up. You see the blitzing linebacker, number 56, coming. Number 34 was also coming on the play. That vacated that area over the middle, an area that Curtis Stevens filled, and Eric Hochberg was right there with a pass. Once again, I think the emphasis on the pass, and both quarterbacks looking very good. Let's take a quick look at the stats, and I believe they will verify that. Both teams far more yardage via the pass than on the ground. Rutgers only 40 yards rushing, 210 passing. Louisville pretty much the same thing, 25 yards on the ground, obviously not as many yards via the pass.
And the way they've moved the ball in the change-up of the offense, they're throwing the ball more, but they're throwing it on the unpredicted downs, and I think that has led to a great part of their success.
Okay, you see the penalties on the bottom, 3 for Rutgers, 4 for Louisville. However, I think that Louisville benefited certainly a lot more from the penalty. You want to explain that one?
That penalty, which occurred about midfield on a 4th down situation, would have created a punt for Louisville. Rather, we found out after the penalty was given that it was a 1st down for Louisville, and the interpretation we received is the Rutgers man created the penalty after the ball, a dead ball foul, which takes preference and gave him the 1st down, 10 yards.
Okay, now up to Bruce Beck on the roof at Rutgers Stadium.
During the 1983. Thank you very much, gentlemen. 24-14 at halftime, and Rutgers has an opportunity today to seal at least a 500 season for the first time in 4 years. With only 10 games to be played this year, if they win today, well, they'll be 5-2, and they've certainly made a dramatic turnaround. We're at halftime of today's football game between Rutgers and Louisville. We'll be back with the second half kickoff in just a moment.
Master, what's the secret of happiness?
True happiness is to own nothing, have no possessions, be free of material belongings.
A great one. The TV, the VCR, and the video camera. You don't own them?
No, I rent them from Granada TV Rentals. One low monthly payment covers all, even free repairs.
And your tape, Inner Bliss My Way, that too can be rented?
No, that you must buy.
After playing against some pretty tall competition, you probably think I shower with the deodorant soap. Not anymore, because I made a break from deodorant soaps. A clean break with Ivory. Look inside. Ivory's a basic natural soap. Not like soaps that leave deodorants or heavy perfumes all over you. With Ivory, I feel clean, I smell clean. And that's an honest clean.
Make a clean break. With Ivory, no soap can get you cleaner, no matter what size the competition.
Here we go, half number 2. Good kick by Liska. Back to the 1-yard line. Eric Vaughn, 15-yard line, and he is tackled. The Scarlet Knights calling a team meeting on Eric Vaughn's body. It will start from the 18-yard line. First and 10 for the Louisville Cardinals.
It's an area of this Rutgers team this year that has been very, very positive. Their special teams have done the job, both in the kick return, punt return, and the coverages. And that's an indication of the tempo of a team, Sam. Many times you can tell the attitude of a team and the way their special teams plays.
Yeah, because that, well, it requires ability, obviously, but even more than physical ability, you've got to be mentally and emotionally ready every time you're called upon when you are on those special teams.
Ernest Givens comes wide to the left side on 1st and 10. And Rubert straight back to the air, throws for Givens, a diving catch at the 26-yard line with Butch Young all overhead. That is the 3rd catch of the afternoon for Ernest Givens.
Talk about threading the needle. There were 3 Rutgers defenders in the area, and he was under somewhat of a rush. He was getting some pressure up the middle from Doug Kukowski, who is a freshman starting the second half at nose guard for Rutgers.
Second down and 2 yards to go at the 27-yard line. In motion, James Jones. Rubert keeps it on the ground this time, and it's Ron Davenport. Davenport, who leads the club in rushing, picks up the first down yardage. Davenport's best game this year against Houston, 92 yards and 19 carries and a couple of touchdowns. So far this afternoon, Rubert has hit 9 different receivers. Givens leads the way with 3 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown, and Davenport has gone 3 for 17. Rodney Knighton now checks into the backfield behind Ron Davenport. Cardinals have it 1st and 10 from their own 32. Double reverse coming, fake double reverse. Knighton keeps the ball. He gets to the 35-yard line and picks up 3.
Excellent job there by Jack LaPrairie, the strong safety who's playing to the field, to the strength. Even though everything went away from him, looking like reverse, he played his position, came up and led the tacklers as he stopped that for about a 3-yard gain.
Just underway, second half of play. Rutgers leading Louisville 24-14. Back to pass is Rubert. Quick out pattern, complete to Carl Williams. He's out of bounds near the 40-yard line. It will be shy of the first down.
That's one of the few times today that I've seen Rutgers send a couple of linebackers. Roy Oak was coming, and I believe Tyrone Stowe also attempting to put pressure on the quarterback. He released quickly, found his man, but no significant yardage, if any, on the play.
So it's 3rd down and 2. Ball spotted at the 40-yard line. Wide to the left, James Jones. 2 tight ends in the football game for Louisville. And the handoff to Ron Davenport. I don't know. Straight up the middle he went. And some good pursuit by the interior 5 of the Scarlet Knights.
It's hard to tell when that offensive line is pass protecting or blocking for the run. They really don't get a surge. Going back to what we were discussing at halftime, the emphasis. I think when you put the emphasis on the pass and you're dealing with young offensive linemen, and perhaps you emphasize or stress that too much, they forget about the run and they don't work on the techniques, and all they think about is pass. They're not getting a surge. They're not coming off the ball. Came off enough for the first down, however.
Just made it. So at the 42, 1st and 10 for Louisville, trying to get some kind of sustained drive going here in this 3rd quarter of play. Cardinals of Louisville come in with a record of 2-4 under coach Bob Weber, now in his 5th year at Louisville. And off to Willie Shelby. Shelby tries to crack the right side, but runs into 2 or 3 Rutgers players, and the Scarlet Knights continue to snuff out the run.
Very interesting how Louisville came out this half throwing a little bit, but running the ball a little bit more, using their tailback, using that big fullback Davenport. That time Shelby on a little counter action gets about 4 yards. Perhaps they're trying to keep Rutgers a little off guard, keep those guys at home to open up the passing game.
2nd down and 6. Givens wide to the right, wide to the left, James Jones. Rubert across the middle, hits his tight end, Bruce Armstrong, for a first down at the Rutgers 44-yard line.
Well, evidently they succeeded, because Rutgers, don't know if they were expecting the run or not, but watch the linebackers. You see everybody coming. There are a couple of linebackers coming in there, and there's nobody over the middle to stop that quick pass over the middle to the tight end. He is a big tight end, Bruce Anthony, 6'3", 240 pounds, just a sophomore. Better blocker than Hatfield, who was the starter last year. He's out with a knee injury, did not make the trip, but Armstrong had been starting anyway.
Coaching staff told me he's getting better and better, though, every game. 1st and 10, Rubert puts it up. Blitz coming from all sides, and the pass is incomplete, intended for number 6, Junior Jones.
That time he received a little bit more pressure, and Tom Duffy from the right side came in. He might have even gotten his hand on that one. Sort of looked like he fluttered the ball out here. What he's doing on the first down situations, he's coming to a short, controlled passing game, which gets him 4, 5, 6 yards, puts him in a good position for second down. That time he failed. He's facing a 2nd and 10.
Rutgers showing blitz again. Rupert across the middle, wide open man, first down at the 38-yard line, and it's Danny Thomas, the backup tight end. So twice in a row to 2 different tight ends. Quarterback Rupert finds the man and the first down yardage.
It almost seems like they're anticipating Rutgers coming on a certain down. They're on 2nd and 10. Once again, the middle was vacated. They look to the tight end, wide open, first down.
Rutgers has more yardage in this football game, but right now the first downs are tied 14-all.
34-yard line, 1st and 10. Louisville has had the ball for 3 minutes and 45 seconds of this third quarter, and a sack. Tony Sagnilla nails Ed Rupert, 2nd sack of the afternoon. And Louisville, not a team that gets sacked a lot, only 6 coming into today's game.
Watch number 46 now. He apparently comes out of nowhere. The flow going to the right. Watch 46 come into your picture. The quarterback, Ed Rupert, had started to move out to his left. As soon as he took a step, I don't even know if he got around to taking that first step, Duffy was on him. It was a delayed blitz, and that's why nobody picked him up.
2nd down and 12 now. Again, Oak showing blitz. Rupert rolls, throws, and it's incomplete. Pass intended for Bruce Armstrong, who's seeing a lot of playing time today also because David Hatfield, the outstanding tight end with 20 catches coming into today's game, out with a knee injury.
One of the few times we've seen Rupert move out of the pocket. That time he ran a play action, almost a bootleg pass, came against the grain, looked for his tight end coming across, threw it a little bit low and he couldn't handle it. And now a 3rd and 12. Interesting to see if Rutgers plays back or comes after him.
Preston Gray and Eric Vaughn are in as wide receivers. Plenty of time for Rupert. Fires across the middle. It's intercepted by Jack LaPrairie. LaPrairie's at the 40-yard line, up to the 43-yard line, and Rutgers comes up with a turnover, and they have excellent field position.
That's what they were working for, and most of your interceptions will come in the middle. This time Rupert drops back. They come with only 4 people. They're defending with the rest. He throws the ball right in the middle. LaPrairie is almost free, plays the football beautifully, gets them back. Big play for the defense there. Turns the ball over in great field position.
That's what you call reading the quarterback's eyes. LaPrairie didn't have a defender, nobody in his area, broke toward the football as the quarterback released and came up with the interception.
Scarlet Knights have it at their own 44, 1st and 10. Baker comes in motion to the right. Hochberg pitches back to Albert Smith. Albert Smith has some running room, has a first down at the 43-yard line of Louisville.
And the effectiveness of that play, we talked about it before. They're on the sideline. They're running into the sideline to the tight end, away from the strength, away from the defensive strength. And Albert Smith cuts this thing back. He knows he can't get outside. Beautiful block in there, again, by his offensive guard. Yudovic, an excellent blocker, as Sam has called his number a couple of times.
1st and 10. Again, Andrew Baker comes in motion. Straight handoff. Curtis Stevens, 3 yards up the middle. Stevens, sophomore from Somerdale, New Jersey, getting the start today, but he coughed up the fumble, and Mike Minogue comes up with it, and Louisville has the football right back.
Take a look at number 64, the left guard. We saw him pulling, well, you're not going to see the drive block, but he had a good block on his man. He's still with him, number 64, Yudovic pushing him back. Who gets the football? An arm, evidently. Something dislodged the ball.
It was 34, Miller, the linebacker.
Let's see now if we can see that block on Yudovic. It certainly wasn't his fault. No, this is a different. This is the, yeah, that's Rupert with the football, not Hochberg.
1st and 10, Cards get it right back. Back-to-back turnovers as we've begun play here in this third quarter of play. Ron Davenport tries the right side, and the senior from Atlanta gets 3 yards. It's 2nd and 7.
If there's something that's haunted Rutgers a bit this year, it's been the turnovers, costly turnovers. Playing against Kentucky 3 weeks ago, they were ahead 14-13, and they took the opening kickoff of the second half, and as they were driving down the field, they coughed the ball up. That led to a score for Kentucky. They did the same thing in the next series. It's the one thing that has put them in tough positions at times this year.
2nd down and 7. 45-yard line. Long count. Grubert, quick out pattern. Incomplete, intended for Eric Givens, and I got the feeling that he was checking off at the line of scrimmage.
Well, perhaps had he not had so much on the football, it might have been intercepted because Givens fell down on the play, and there was no Rutgers defender. You'll see the slip now. He goes down, and this is when you also come up with the interception. However, the defender was not close enough, Butch Young, as you see him come into your picture number 2, to pick off the football, although he was certainly trying to get there.
Third down and 7. Grubert swings it out, complete to John Adams, and Adams is into Rutgers territory at the 45-yard line. He has a first down before Roger Pollard made the stop.
They hit the tailback coming out of the backfield that time. First time we've seen him come to this direction, in this direction, from the tailback position. Beautifully executed play by the quarterback. They get the first down to keep the drive alive.
Looked like he threw that ball right between the extended arms of Tony Segnella, who was coming from that side, I believe.
The Rutgers way very much a part of today's activity. This time it is a double reverse, and it's Ernest Givens with a wide open field. If he can get by one man, he's down to the 40-yard line, picking up 5 yards. Tyrone Stowe was in pursuit on the play.
You saw Lionel Washington with an opportunity to throw him for a big loss, couldn't quite get his arms around him. Number 99 was in the backfield, was not fooled on the play, but couldn't quite bring Givens down. He did, however, cause him to delay long enough for his friends to come up and stop Givens for, what, 3-4 yards on the play.
Second down, 5 yards to go at the 40. And Rupert may have taken too much time. Whistles were sounded on the field. The pass incomplete, intended for John Adams. I see no flag, so apparently the play has stuck. It is 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5 in this situation. Thus far, he's come to his tight end on occasions. Bruce Armstrong. Rutgers is elected to go with the blitz here.
Roy Oak, I believe, with ice on his eye. Somebody probably got a finger in there. Hard to get a blow to that part of the head with a helmet and mask on.
Pass to the sideline is caught by Junior Jones. Breaks the tackle. He's at the 20. Junior Jones is going to pay dirt.
I said earlier in the game, when you blitz, it is somewhat of a gamble. You don't get any help from your linebackers. The pressure was on the cornerback out there.
That was
a one-on-one situation. McCarris, you'll see number 17 come into your picture. There's Stowe coming up the middle. You see a couple of linebackers there, nobody underneath. And there you see McCarris, who just simply misses the tackle. And that was the problem. It wouldn't have been much yardage on the completion had he been able to bring the ball carrier down on the play, and that was Junior Jones, the wide receiver on that side of the field.
Phil Ellis will try the point after touchdown. Louisville looking to come within 3, and they do. So Rutgers has seen their lead evaporate. It is now a 3-point football game. Rutgers 24, Louisville 21.
It's a busy world we live in. It can take your breath away. When the going isn't easy, there's an easy going way. So relax and catch the feeling. Take off and get away. You're gonna like us, TWA.
Take your time through the airport by reserving your seat in advance. Take a comfortable wide-body plane. Spread out in a spacious business class, or stretch out in a first-class sleeper seat. Across the country, across the world, nobody is working harder to make flying easier than everybody at TWA.
We're a spirit you can count on, a hand across the miles. We're a cloud to put your cares on, and an easy smile. You're gonna like us, TWA.
24-21. It is a football game in the 3rd quarter with 7:47 to go.
Well, of course, the 2 turnovers that set up that last touchdown, but Rutgers had received the ball from Louisville on an interception just a few plays before that fumble.
Rutgers has made some precious mistakes here. The fumble, of course, turned around what could have been a score for them, gave Louisville a chance to come back after an interception, and they beat the freshman McCarris for the touchdown. More importantly, Rutgers has got to settle in here on offense and get the ball upfield and get some points, take the pressure off the defense.
Here's Dan McCarris, a yard deep, gets to the 23-yard line, and that is all. And the Scarlet Knights will now try to increase the lead again. It is 24-21, third quarter of play.
And of course, one of the ways you take the pressure off your defense is control the football. Keep the opposing offense from getting the ball and having an opportunity to score. You do that by running the football with controlled, timely passes.
Eric Hochberg, 16 of 23 this afternoon, 210 yards. Andrew Baker goes in motion for the Scarlet Knights. Hochberg rolls, fires, completes the Boris Pendergrass, but he caught it out of bounds. It will not count as a reception. It will be 2nd and 10.
It was excellent execution on the part of both the quarterback and the receiver. He just probably threw it a hair bit late so that Prendergast couldn't stay in bounds. But they found Boris behind the cornerback in front of the free safety, wide open. I'm sure they'll come back to that again. And again, they threw on first down.
Yeah, well, perhaps they had just a little bit too much on the football, which frequently happens when the quarterback throws in the same direction to which he's rolling. He's got that forward momentum going as he releases the football.
Rutgers has only 56 yards on the ground this afternoon. Hochberg looks, fires, complete at the 27-yard line. Alan Andrews makes the reception. For Andrews, that is catch number 6 on the day.
Alan Andrews again coming from the left side that time as the tight end underneath the linebackers, releasing Baker and Prendergast deep. He comes open and they take a short gain. They've got a 3rd down and about 7, and they have to look now to get the first down. That's the key, keep the drive going.
Curtis Stevens is the fullback. Hochberg looks across the middle, finally checks off, throws complete to Albert Smith, and he will not get the first down. Louisville's defense is fired up as Doug Lucas, a sophomore from Louisville, came up to make the stop, and Rutgers will have to punt it away.
Well, they used to call that the safety valve. When you can't find a receiver downfield and it's panic time and you don't know what to do with the football, you look to that back who has just drifted out from the backfield toward the sideline, but far short of a first down.
Safety valve. I was looking for that term. I used checking off, which was incorrect. Thank you, Sam.
Well, there are a lot of terms you could have used instead, you know.
The outlet, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, we'll use that next time. Liska's punt, fair catch called, and Eric Vaughan has it at the 31-yard line, and Louisville gaining some momentum, trailing by 3 with 6:50 left in the third quarter.
Taxi! Over 19 million times a year, people take off with us to cities all across America.
Charlie wants to come too.
Maybe it's because we can take them to more places than American, TWA, United, and Delta combined.
What?
Or maybe they just like taking off without leaving the ground.
All aboard, all aboard, all aboard Amtrak.
Take Amtrak now and take advantage of our All Aboard America fares.
The Mitsubishi Mighty Max has always been an excellent value, but this year we've outdone ourselves. We've added new carpeting, a new instrument cluster, tinted glass, a cargo light, radial tires and trim rings, a double-wall cargo box, an 18-gallon fuel tank, and a lot more. The only thing we didn't add was a big price tag. At only $57.49, the new Mitsubishi Mighty Max is tough to beat and easy to own.
A crowd of 25,764 at Rutgers Stadium today, 2nd biggest crowd in history. And they are watching a pretty tight football game. 1st and 10, Rupert goes straight back to pass, fires for Givens. Givens is there and he just couldn't hang on.
Well, you couldn't ask for a much better pass because it was right on target. It may have drifted a little bit toward the sideline, and even if he had caught it, he might have been out of bounds. You'll see Rupert set up. Typical drop-back quarterback. Took, I would say, a 5 to 7 step drop. Boy, he's got something on that football. Now watch him lead the receiver. I think he got both hands on that football, and he probably should have held on to it, although certainly it wasn't an easy catch.
It is remarkable, the likeness of Rupert to a Todd Black legend. His delivery, his size. He's a big, strong kid, and he's really thrown the ball well today.
2nd down and 10. Rupert, with a lot of time, throws it long again, and it will be incomplete. Overthrowing Preston Gray. Wasn't like the last play where Givens really had an opportunity. Here's a look at the crowd today. This is the 2nd largest crowd in history. The largest, the Princeton-Rutgers game in 1980 when they had 26,219. Today's crowd, 25,764. You're looking at the press box side, and as you see, a shirt sleeve crowd on hand because of the humidity at Rutgers today.
Are you still coaching Princeton at that time?
No, that was after I was coaching Princeton, but that was a big game.
3rd and 10 for Ed Rupert. No pressure. He swings it out to Ron Davenport. Ron Davenport is a 1st down. He's upended by Danny McHarris at the 46-yard line. Rupert continues to use different receivers and continues to get good results.
And I think that the big pass play, which killed him the last time with the touchdown score working against McHarris, has gotten defense a little bit tentative. That time they were laying back on 3rd down and long, and he went to his outlet or to his safety valve. And Davenport, if he catches the ball with anybody in front of him, he is a big running back at 6'2", 225, and he just rambles.
However, I think that time that was by design, as he had a couple of blockers out in front of him.
Rupert, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns on the afternoon, and James Jones goes in motion. This time he'll keep it on the ground, and Davenport goes nowhere. First it was Lionel Washington, then it was Roy Oak who is back in the football game.
Very interesting, the substitutions for Rutgers on defense. McHarris, the freshman, was in the last time they scored. He was in for Twomley at the left cornerback. This time he's in on the right cornerback. Here comes Oak up through the blocker, making the play, getting help from a whole host of people, including McHarris coming up on the outside. But McHarris is in the game now for Butch Young.
Of course, the thing that gave Roy Oak an opportunity to show his wares was the injury to Matt Bachman, who had started against Penn State and I believe broke his leg in that football game.
2nd down and 9. Preston Gray in slow motion. Back to throw. Rupert, pressure. Fires across the middle. Nobody there but linemen.
If you're ever going to call intentional grounding.
Closest man to the football was Big Pete Jones, 6'5", 270, Sam, and he doesn't look like a wide receiver.
Perhaps John Adams, you'll see, is down. The official is tending to him now. He's the fullback or the tailback, and perhaps that's why they did not call intentional grounding. Adams was in the area, but he was already out of the play, lying on the ground.
I don't see how Rutgers could not have to come after him. I don't think they can afford to sit back now. You've got to break up the tempo of the game, and that time was the best rush they've had on him as a collective group. They've had an individual rush here and there, but that time they had 3 or 4 people up in his face.
So the injured player, John Adams, a sophomore from Lebanon, Kentucky. 6'1" sophomore. Rutgers leading in this football game 24-21 with 5:21 left in the 3rd quarter of play.
Well, there you see the comparison between Ed Rupert, the quarterback for Louisville, and Eric Hochberg of Rutgers. Yardage just about the same. I think that, what do they both have? 1 interception at this point?
Yes.
Rupert has 2.
Rupert has 2. I guess that's an important factor.
But I think
with the injury, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back to Rutgers Stadium with the Scarlet Knights leading by 3 and 5:21 left in the 3rd quarter of play. Everyone gets in on the entertaining action of professional wrestling on Madison Square Garden Network. Enjoy the weekly 1-hour highlight shows, All-Star Wrestling and Championship Wrestling, featuring the biggest names in the game. Plus, the sensational live 3-hour spectacular from the Garden. MSG Network is the spot on your cable dial for wrestling action. You can count on it.
Enjoy all the excitement of New York Knicks basketball in person at Madison Square Garden. There's nothing like being right here at the world's most famous arena as Bernard King and the Knicks try to climb the ladder right to the top of the NBA. There are good seats available for season tickets as well as on an individual game basis. For ticket information, call 212-563-8000 Catch the action of New York Knicks basketball in person right here at Madison Square Garden.
Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, New Jersey's university. That's the slogan that they've been using all season long. There's the brand new scoreboard dedicated today by Bob Sims.
They've had an opportunity to use it. It's a relatively high score, 24-21 at this point, with Rutgers sitting on a 3-point lead. However, here in the second half, Louisville has taken charge, and they now have more total yards than Rutgers does. And of course, Rutgers led by almost 100 yards at the end of the half.
3rd down and 9 for the Cardinals from their own 48-yard line. Ruber throws, it's incomplete.
There we saw excellent coverage on the part of Rutgers. They got their linebackers back. In that particular case, Lionel Washington got great depth and forced Rupert to elevate that ball over his hands. By the time it got to his wide receiver, it was out of bounds. That was a good job of the Rutgers defense. They held, and I think this punting situation is important because it gets that defense off the field. They know they've done their job and gets the offense back in motion.
Lionel Washington got the game ball last week against Army. And, of course, he has the ability to be outstanding, whether he is rushing the passer, as he did last year, or dropping back into coverage more, as he's done this year.
Butch Young drops back for the Scarlet Knights. He's dangerous when he gets a hold of the football, but so far today, he's been kept in check. Short punt. Doesn't look like Young will handle this one either. It goes out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Young was very effective last week against Army, returning 7 punts for 63 yards, but today he really hasn't had an opportunity to showcase his talents, and we have a flag down on the field.
And it's going to go against Rutgers. I think it's illegal use of their hands. We'll see where this penalty occurs. Here's Butch Young coming off the field. Butch Young at 5'8", 170 pounds from Rahway High School, a very versatile football player.
Penalty will be against Rutgers. And they will lose a little bit of field position. Matter of fact, they will start from their own 17-yard line. And Rutgers had pretty good field position, gentlemen, the first half. They haven't had much here in the 3rd quarter, and it's much easier.
They got illegal use of the hands against the receiving team. 1st down.
Coaches will say it's much easier to start where you've got some room, where you can do things a little bit easier. You don't have to be conservative.
Well, I would like to see them remain conservative for a while and see if they can get that running game going.
On 1st down, the give is to Albert Smith, who's been kept in check this afternoon. 2 yards for Albert Smith on the play, and so far, Albert Smith, 9 carries, 42 yards.
Now you saw Brian Miller once again come up and make the tackle. He's leading the team. He led the Louisville team last year in tackles with 133, 112 solos. And I guess as most 5-2 defenses, the 2 middle linebackers, inside linebackers, do make most of the tackles.
2nd down, 9 yards to go. Eric Hochberg sets up, looks, throws to Alan Andrews, and that is Scott Drake, not Alan Andrews, and it is up to the 25-yard line, short of the 1st down. Calvert Cole made the tackle.
That time they caught Louisville playing 4 deep, basically dropping off, and Andrews comes out instead of turning to the middle, turns outside in the seam between the linebacker and the strong safety. He's wide open to make the play, keeps the drive going.
Nice tackle now by Calvert Cole. There you see the 4 people. They're dropping back at the snap, expecting help from the linebackers in that intermediate area, and that's where you saw the tight end Scott Drake wind up.
3rd and 3. Hochberg throws. He has a man. He has a 1st down at the 29-yard line, and again, going to his back, coming out of the backfield before Brian Miller made the stop. It's number 48, Curtis Stevens.
And there, Sam, is something we talked about earlier. Today we see Rusty Hochberg making those kind of plays. He had to thread the needle. His receiver, the back, coming out of the backfield. Stevens wasn't that open. He had to put the ball there. Stevens made the catch. They kept the drive going. I think that's the difference in Rusty Hochberg as a quarterback today.
Well, he seemed poised and in control of the situation throughout the game.
Rutgers with a little bit of breathing room from their own 29. 3:37 left, 3rd quarter. Rutgers leads by 3. They stay on the ground. Curtis Stevens gets 2 straight up the middle, running into Anthony Moss and also into Mark Grandy.
Well, maybe that's why they're going to the pass on 1st down, or they were, because they're not making much yardage, although When I looked at the yardage at the end of the half, I was rather surprised that Rutgers had only 40 yards on the ground. I remember some fairly impressive runs by Smith, and I had the impression they had more than 40 yards on the ground.
2nd down and 7 at the 32-yard line. Single setback, and Hochberg will put it up. Fires incomplete. Scott Drake had his hands on the football, but he could not hang on.
Drake was open again. This time he crossed from the right side back into the sideline, and Hochberg threw the ball a little bit behind him. That time, if he had given him a little bit of a lead, I think he not only would have caught it, but he would have probably got the first down.
So it is 3rd and 7, and this Rutgers offense has not got on track in this 3rd quarter of play. They had their 24 points at halftime. They still have the 24. Hochberg with time, airs it out, long for Pendergrass, incomplete. And if Pendergrass would have caught the football, he was out of bounds anyway, with Terrence Dickens all over him.
Well, he either waited too long, I'm sure he waited too long to throw the football, or made a bad choice in throwing to Pendergrass, because there was very little chance of a completion unless he could have put that up perhaps 70 yards in the air.
I think when you're in a third situation, 3rd and 7, you're looking to get the first down, Sam. He was trying to get it all, and it was, I think, as you described it, probably a poor choice on his part. When you looked at Dick Anderson on the sideline, I think he agreed with it.
Gary Liska in punt formation for the Scarlet Knights. 3rd punt of the afternoon. Vaughn and Junior Jones drop back deep. Short punt. Fair catch called and made by Junior Jones at the 40-yard line. The Cardinals with good field position as they start out late in the 3rd quarter of play. Just a 28-yard punt by Gary Liska.
Well, and Rutgers could be in trouble now. Louisville has got the football. They've been moving the ball well throughout the football game, but even better here in the 2nd half. And as you said before, Bob, Rutgers is going to have to do something. They had started to blitz on the previous drive, but not very effectively, as once again Louisville took it in for a score.
Louisville's been doing most of the damage in the air, and that's where Rubert starts out, complete to Jones, and James Jones is down to the Rutgers 41-yard line. First down for the Louisville Cardinals, and if there ever was a time to use the word momentum, they have it in this 3rd quarter of play.
Let's take a look at Roy Oak, one of the inside linebackers, number 44, dropping back into coverage, looking at the quarterback, moving out toward the receiver who already has the football. Let's see if he gets a piece of it. He gets a piece of him all right, but he had already been stopped.
1st and 10 at the 41. Davenport and Knighton are in the backfield. Pitch to Rodney Knighton. Knighton gets 4 yards on the play, 4 hard-earned yards. Tony Sagnella in there to make the stop for Rutgers. Tom Duffy also.
We're going to get a flag on this play against, I think it's going to be a holding call against Louisville, which is very important, this field position for Rutgers, but that's what the play looks like it's going that way now. Roy Oak agrees with us, and I think the official has probably already indicated to him.
Referee Wesley Ward has been busy this afternoon. And he will mark off some big yards against the Cardinals. Let's get the call.
Holding on the offense. First down.
I was going to say, Sam, that was an inopportune time to get holding, but is there ever a time when it's good?
There never is, just like turnovers. Dick Anderson said during the week when asked about a specific turnover, let's see it.
On 1st and 22, a quick pass to Ernest Gibbons, who picks up perhaps 7 or 8.
Well, he was asked, you haven't turned the ball over too many times this year. They were plus 10 in the turnover takeaway category, and he said, well, if you have 1 turnover, that's 1 too many.
Interesting to see Louisville working on the perimeter. They're throwing to their wide receivers Gibbons and their flanker on 1st and 10, pitting him one-on-one against the cornerback, figuring he's going to make a missed tackle, and Rutgers has missed a few in this 3rd period.
2nd down and 16 at the Rutgers 47-yard line. Rubert complete to Ron Davenport, spins away from one man, gets to the 38-yard line, picking up 4 or 5 yards on that 2nd effort.
That's an excellent execution on the part of the quarterback. That time he went to the wide side of the field, releasing this fullback Davenport into the flat, as you see here. He comes back to Davenport, he catches the ball, and as we said before, at his size, 6'2", 225, he makes yardage. Good pursuit on the part of Rutgers, and finally Roy Oak getting over there to make the play again.
Good yardage on the play, but they still need about 8 for a first down. It's third down coming up.
3rd and 8, and Rupert has time throwing for all the marbles. It's incomplete. He had James Jones on a post pattern. Single coverage with Steve Twomley. Ball was simply overthrown.
Well, there had to be single coverage because Rutgers was going for broke on the play. They were sending the linebackers. Nobody underneath. They forced him just a little bit. Roy Oak was coming in on Rupert. He had to throw prematurely, and the gamble that time paid off for Rutgers, the gamble of the blitz.
And that's the change of pace we've been talking about. You got to alter that a little bit so that they don't get into a system whereby they feel very, especially their offensive linemen, feel very certain about what you're going to do.
And Anderson is very emphatic about that. He doesn't, in other words, his philosophy is take what's available. You don't, make adjustments during the game. He doesn't have preconceived notions that he stays.
It is a fake punt, and Louisville will be short. Willie Shelby, the up man, took the snap. He was stopped cold. Steve Twomley and others in on the stop for Rutgers. And once again, the defense, which has come up with so many big plays this season, has done their job again.
I got to question that call, Sam, in this situation. They've got plenty of time left in the game. They could have put this ball deep in Rutgers territory. To give the ball up on the 35, 37-yard line, I think is a mistake. And I think Rutgers defense, being alert and pretty much, as you just were describing him, never bending, never making too many big mistakes, was ready for what happened.
Heck of a play by Roy Oak. He wasn't fooled at all, and he made the tackle. Hochberg to throw in first down. Across the middle to Andrews. Big first down at the 37-yard line of Louisville, and Alan Andrews makes it look so easy.
Nice play by Andrews because he knew that there was somebody behind him. You'll see number 1 who actually slips on the play, but Andrews thought, or had every reason to believe, that he was going to get racked up. Watch him extend those arms up the middle. You'll see, oh, great catch. There's number 1 who actually slips on the play. He should have been coming up with that helmet right into the middle of Andrews' back. I don't know what he was doing out on the left side anyway.
27-yard pickup, first and 10, Rutgers at the 36-yard line of Louisville. Dwayne Hooper picks up 3 yards on the play, following the blocking of Jim Keating.
Getting back to the success of the Rutgers offense today, it's based on not only the actions of the quarterback. We've seen Hochberg roll out, drop back, sprint out, but also the formations. The last time they hit the tight end Andrews down the middle, they came up with a single back on a 1st and 10, which forced the defense to spread the coverage, and I think that safety man in the middle, number 1, Kirk Perry, was just lost. Never found it, the tight end soon enough.
Vernon Williams, Dwayne Hooper, split backs for Rutgers. Eric Hochberg across the middle. It's incomplete. Intended for Alan Andrews. Don Cosby all over Andrews from a strong safety spot.
Well, there was good execution on the part of the quarterback, good execution on the part of the receiver. And watch number 26 now. He comes up and just knocks that ball away, which indicates that perhaps Hochberg should have released a little bit sooner before he had time to recover and come up and get a piece of the football.
And I think also, Sam, people start to play the set play, and I think they're looking for the tight end many times in that situation. That time the linebacker had him well covered.
17 seconds left, 3rd quarter. Rutgers leads by 3. 3rd down and 8. Hochberg throws complete to Andrews, short of the first down by a yard or 2. They'll spot the ball somewhere near the 30. Doug Lucas made the tackle, so it brings up 4th and short.
Obviously, it's a lot easier to see up here because of our vantage point sitting on top of things. You see that Boris Pendergrass was pretty much by himself on a post route, and had he seen it, he probably would have been able to hit him.
His offsides call against, I believe the penalty's going to go against Louisville here, which will give Rutgers an extra down because they did come up a few yards short on that 3rd down play. Would have created a big decision for Dick Anderson whether he would have gone for the first down or went for 3 points here.
And talking about this vantage point, it's like, well, let's hear the officials' call on this.
Offside on the defense. 3rd down.
Okay, he doesn't give us a number, so it doesn't matter. They were offsides. It's like faking. When you look at it up here or from the stands, it sometimes seems meaningless when they fake to one back and then hand off to another back. But when you're down on the field with offensive people in your face, the fake can be very effective.
3rd and 2. Hochberg rolling, throws incomplete. Pendergrass had slipped, and he was too low. Hochberg's pass over his head. 4th down, and Tom Angstadt, the field goal team, will come on with 7 seconds left in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, we've mentioned a lot of slipping here today, and it should also be mentioned that it was raining prior to the game. I don't know how heavily it rained during the night here in Jersey, but obviously they have had considerable rain and the field is rather sloppy.
So Tom Angstadt will attempt a 36 plus 10 of the end zone, a 46-yard field goal attempt. His longest is 50. Angstadt's kick is up, and it is short. So Tom Angstadt comes up empty for one of the few times this season. He was 14 of 18 coming into that field goal. Louisville will take over, and Louisville still very much pressing Rutgers this afternoon, trailing 24-21. A couple of ticks remaining in this third quarter of play.
There's no question that the third quarter belongs to Louisville. They've come back, they've got some scores, they've played better on defense, and I think the key now will be as we enter into the fourth period. The fourth period is what Dick Anderson says, whoever controls the fourth quarter controls the game. And he feels there's 5 or 6 big plays in every game that control the game, and many of them occur in the fourth period.
Draw play. And 2 yards for Willie Shelby, the 5'7" junior from Louisville, and that will do it for this third quarter of play. So only 1 touchdown in that third quarter. It was scored by the Cardinals of Louisville at the end of 3. Rutgers 24, Louisville 21. We'll be back with the final 15 minutes in just a moment.
Your eyes are about to deceive you. Here comes Fujifilm with color pictures so true to life, it's a real breakthrough. Fuji HR 1600 film. Fuji's advanced technology has developed the fastest, most light-sensitive color print film in the world. For sharp pictures with true color, under more conditions than any other film made. Get extraordinary Fuji films and get the true picture. Fuji 35mm disc and 110.
What a bummer. Another engine we can't mess up.
How could Mobil do this to me?
Yeah, improve their super unleaded gasoline. It's really powerful. High octane is so...
Knocking and pinging is becoming a lost art.
Yeah. I just hope nobody else finds out how good their new gasoline is. How could they find out?
Mobil could make a television commercial.
Nah.
A big fourth quarter coming up. Football game up for grabs. Louisville 2-4. Rutgers 4-2. Louisville with the football from their own 32-yard line. Now you might ask, how good is Louisville? Well, they have lost to some quality opponents this year. Number 19, West Virginia. Number 7, SMU. Number 1 in Division AA, Indiana State. And number 9, Murray State in Division I AA. So they are 2-4. They also defeated Houston, and they've played some pretty tough competition.
Can I repeat something? The 4 teams they lost to have a combined record of 20-2.
That's impressive. Rubert on second down heaves the football.
We've got a penalty here, Bruce.
And a penalty thrown in the backfield.
One of the penalties that should never occur is when a wide receiver goes offside. He should be looking right at the football. In this case, I'm pretty sure it's against their wide receiver. Number 18, Vaughn, to the left side, jumped before the snap.
So instead of 2nd and 8, it will now be 2nd and 13.
Talking about Louisville football, it's interesting to note the number of players they have playing professional football. They've really delivered a bundle, and right now you've got Jacoby.
Third down.
You've got Joe Jacoby with the Redskins. You got Mark Clayton, the wide receiver with the Dolphins, Don Kraft with the Oilers, and of course, if you want to go back in history, that's where Johnny Unitas played.
I knew that. But talking about Jacoby, this offensive line seems to be patterned after him.
They are big. Third, Rubert looking long, and the pass will never get to the receiver, Preston Gray.
Perhaps just as well, because he was covered well that time by Nakaris. He's certainly been around today, most of the time doing things that he's going to be balled out for when they watch the films, but that time he had good coverage.
We get back to the fourth period. Rutgers has created a tradition this year with the fourth period. They really believe that's where you've got to do it, and they've done it many times so far this fall. And it'll be interesting to see now with 14:52 on the clock whether they can put it away.
Yeah, meanwhile, they've outscored opponents 60-6 in the second quarter.
That's amazing.
60-6.
Danny Surione in punt formation for his 4th punt of the afternoon. Short punt, twisting, and goes out of bounds at the Rutgers 43-yard line. So another poor punt by Danny Serione, only 25 yards. And Rutgers getting excellent field position with 14:46 left in the football game. And here's the stats to this point in time.
Well, you remember at the end of the first half, Rutgers had a rather decisive edge in the total yardage. They had 183 yards to 151. I guess that isn't so. I'm sorry, 183 to 96, almost 100 yards. And you see how Louisville has come back here in this second half.
Out of the I formation, Eric Hochberg puts the ball on the ground, hands to Dwayne Hooper. Dwayne Hooper gets a yard or two. Neither team has been able to move the football on the ground today.
And Brian Miller, that linebacker Sam referred to before, who's really the leading tackler on this team from the strong linebacker position, comes up and makes the hit. It seems in the first down situations in the last few series when Rutgers has the ball, Louisville is playing the run. They've got their linebackers up tight, playing against the run, forcing Rutgers to go back to what they've done well today, and that's throw on first down.
Rutgers with 61 yards rushing today. Louisville with 49. All of the yards have come in the air. Rupert and Hochberg. And here's Hochberg back to throw. In trouble, and he goes down. Back at the 34-yard line, Mike Minogue, sophomore from Riverdale, Illinois, made the sack.
And there's where I think Rusty's got to be a little bit smarter. He can't afford to take those kind of losses. If anything, he might have thrown that ball away. But to sit in there too long and take that kind of a loss and now come up with a 3rd and 17 when he had very good field position puts them in a real hole to try and get a first down here.
Next week, Rutgers travels to Chestnut Hill to meet Boston College. Next week, Louisville is at Cincinnati. Rutgers with 3rd and 17 here from their own 35. Hochberg throws to Andrews, first down. He's at the 40. He spins to the 35-yard line before Todd Navarro knocks him down.
Well, that certainly makes up for perhaps a poor decision on the previous play when he cocked his arm, thought twice about it, and then was sacked. Once again, he seems to go to his favorite receiver, Alan Andrews, and Rutgers definitely has had a vertical passing attack this season. Watch Andrews once again going up, utilizing all 6 feet 5 inches. He had to throw over the linebacker in that instance and not between him. I started to say about the vertical passing game, the 4 leading receivers coming into today's action with the 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers for Rutgers.
1st and 10, 35-yard line of Louisville. Hochberg back to work. Pendergrass. First down, 34-yard line of Louisville. Pushed out of bounds finally by Calvert Cole.
Excellent call by the quarterback because they had zone coverage. Cole was playing well off the football. He just went out there in a 1st and 10, gave his wide receiver the football. Prendergast with his moves and speed got outside and was smart enough, one, to make that first down. And another word, too, Sam, because of the passing today, you can't speak enough of that offensive line for Rutgers. They're really doing a job.
Have done the job. They've given them good pass protection.
1st and 10 at the 24. Straight up the middle. Fumble. Vernon Williams lost the football. Louisville has recovered. Williams has had a lot of problems this season holding the pigskin, and he coughs it up in Louisville territory at the 22. Cardinals take over, trailing by 3 with 12:51 left in the football game.
The Meadowlands offers the special start-to-finish excitement of nighttime thoroughbred racing. Driving power and head-to-head competition as jockey and horses one thunder to the finish line. All the action and suspense of thoroughbred racing. It happens again and again, night after night at the Meadowlands.
Sam's gonna be staying here for a while.
He is? To protect what he loved most.
Is she drunk?
Hey, shove it! No, you shove it! Jake had to grow up fast.
How can you just take that from him?
Don't ever touch me or my brother again. Firstborn, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, October 26th. Check local newspapers for a theater near you.
Rutgers on a nice march, loses the football at the 21-yard line. Louisville takes over, trailing by 3 in this 4th quarter of play. In motion, James Jones. Cardinals, for once, keeping on the ground, and Ronnie Davenport goes nowhere. Really racked up by The two linebackers, Tyrone Stowe and Roy Oak.
Well, Tyrone Stowe has gotten nothing but better. Remember, he came on last year as a freshman and played well for Rutgers. He obviously has improved this year. Watch number 41 come up and stuff the ball carrier. There you see number 31, Ron Davenport, their biggest, toughest running back, the short yardage guy, and Stowe, and who is that also, number 79? Pekowski in on the tackle.
Second down, 10. Pass is caught by James Jones. He was covered well by Steve Twombly, but held onto the football and picked up 4 yards on the play.
And if you're going to run that pass and give him that pass, you got to get that kind of strong support and sound tackling from your cornerback. And Twombly, the sophomore out of West Windsor here in New Jersey, comes up and makes a perfect play. And at third down, they really excellent job.
Really no way to stop that pass. The only way to stop it is perhaps with a corner linebacker taking a drop. When he catches it, you've got to rack him up, which is what Twombly did.
3rd and 6 at the 26-yard line. Again, James Jones goes in motion. Rubert fires across the middle. Caught by Ernest Givens for a first down. A great reception with Butch Young all over him. And Givens coming up with another reception. That's his 6th of the afternoon.
I think you got to give Butch Young part of the credit for the reception. Watch, he gets one arm out, and the ball is stopped, I believe, by Butch Young's body, which enables him to hold on to the ball. Now watch this. You can't, oh no, it did bounce right into his gut. Hit off that right arm and into the stomach of Givens.
1st and 10, 37-yard line. Handoff, Rodney Knight. Knighton gets 2 yards. Oak there to make the tackle. Lionel Washington also in on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and about 9. Ed Rubert on the afternoon, 48 attempts. The most he had this year, which was also a school record, was 55 against Murray State. He completed 29 of those passes.
393 yards. They've got a lot of yardage. Ranked 7th in the nation coming into today's game, passing.
10:42 to play. Rutgers 24, Louisville 21. Rubert puts it up again. Complete to Carl Williams. Williams gets away from one man. Williams to the Rutgers 40-yard line. Tom Duffy made the tackle, but Louisville continues to dominate this second half.
And what they're doing is hitting the wide receivers in the flats and forcing the cornerback, once he declares himself in zone coverage, to come up and make a sure tackle. But their receivers, Williams, Givens, Vaughn, are quick and tricky, and if you don't make the right hit on them, they're going to get the extra yard.
You saw both wide receivers line up to the right side, one going deep, straight up the field, hoping to take the cornerback with him. The other broke toward the sideline and caught the pass.
Another first down at the 41. Rodney Knight racked up. Oak made the hit. Also, number 6, Roger Pollard came up from the strong safety position to make a nice sting.
And neither team able to run the football, both relying primarily on the pass. Here you see that defensive line digging in against a much larger offensive line. They held their ground, allowing those linebackers to come up. When your defensive linemen get driven off the line of scrimmage, as is quite possible when the offensive people outweigh your defensive people by 30 to 50 pounds, you're in trouble. They're holding their own, allowing the linebackers to come up and make tackles.
2nd down and 11 from the 42 of Rutgers. Rubert throws incomplete, intended for Carl Williams. That was a dangerous pass play.
That was really a quick screen pass. He faked one way to his backs going up inside on the right side, and he comes out, reverses himself. He's trying to get the ball out to Williams with that big number 76, his offensive tackle, Kubatroff, out in front of him, but he threw it a little bit too soon because he had some pressure.
It did look dangerous because he did not look at his receiver. He, faked to the right, turned around, and was throwing the ball as he made that turn, and had a Rutgers player been there, it was trouble.
Shelby and Knighton are now in the backfield. Knighton in a wing position. This is 3rd and 11. Rubert, sideline pattern complete, but that won't help much. Preston Gray gets him 2 or 3 yards, and that is all. I have a funny feeling that Louisville thought the first down marker was the near side of the chain.
I think it might have been, but I think it also goes back to they were anticipating zone, and they were trying to get their wide receiver with the speed against the cornerback. Maybe he could break it. Here now, they're in a 4th down situation. Last time they tried to run from the punt situation. I think this time they'll try and put Rutgers in the hole by punting the football.
Danny Sarione will punt. Butch Young drops back deep. 9 minutes, 28 seconds left in the football game. Rutgers clings to a 24-21 lead. Surion going for the corner. And he's going to get it inside the 10-yard line. Down at the 5-yard line. And Rutgers will have to start from a hole. So with 9 minutes and 19 seconds to go after the 33-yard punt, Rutgers with poor field position facing their own end zone.
Bally's Casino Hotel in Atlantic City is taking these few moments to wish you the best of luck. Although, to be frank, to have a good time at Bally's, you don't really need it.
Bally's, Park Place, Casino Hotel. Bally's,
Where a great time is a sure thing.
After 18 holes on a hot afternoon, you probably think I'd shower with a deodorant soap. Not a chance. I'm Keith Fergus, and I made a break from deodorant soaps. A clean break with Ivory. Look inside. Ivory's a basic, natural soap, and I like that. What I don't like are soaps that cover up clean with deodorants or heavy perfumes. I don't want that stuff all over me. With Ivory, I feel like there's nothing on me but clean. I can feel it. I can smell it. I call that an honest clean.
Make a clean break with Ivory. No soap can get you cleaner.
Bruce Beck, Sam DeLuca, Bob Cacciola back at Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey. The Scarlet Knights have the football. They lead by 3 with 9:19 to play. First down, Dwayne Hooper goes nowhere. Racked up by Kirk Perry and by Brian Miller.
In a situation like this, when you're on your own 5-yard line, you're pretty much dictating to the defense what they can do. And that time they just came up and played the run. Rutgers is in a hole now. Louisville has worked to get themselves field position. We have an injured player. I think it is Hooper, the tailback who's down. But Rutgers right now is really facing the most crucial point in the football game.
Hooper today only 7 carries for 8 yards. He took a very good pop from Kirk Perry. And he is being attended to right now. Albert Smith will check in for Hooper. We hope the injury is not serious.
That free safety, Kirk Perry, is 6'2", 195. Besides being great in interceptions, he's also, as you see, Hooper coming to the left side here. The linebacker Miller forces him outside, and there's Perry right up in his face, making the play.
Well, that has been the most disappointing aspect of today's football game, is the fact that Rutgers has not been able to run with the football. On defense, they had to make a complete turnabout. Last week, there you see Eric Hochberg's statistics, 23 for 35, 294 yards, 3 touchdowns. I believe he has thrown just 1 interception.
No, none.
No interceptions.
No interception.
Okay, but last week against Army, that defense was geared to stop that wishbone, a running attack. Army had been leading the nation in running, and of course today, all Louisville has done is thrown the football.
Rutgers again. Backs to their own end zone. Hochberg will go back to throw. Fires for Baker, and Baker has a first down at the 19-yard line. Andrew Baker's been quiet today. That's only his 2nd reception.
But those are the kind of receptions that get you off the floor and get you moving again. And again, back to Rusty Hochberg and his ability today to come and show that he can deliver the football in the clutch. That was a slant pattern to his wide receiver coming across from the top of the screen to the right side into the middle, and he hit him right on the run, gave him enough for the first down.
8 minutes, 35 seconds to play. Rutgers leads by 3. 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. Albert Smith in at the tailback spot, and Smith gets 2 yards. That is all. Ryan Miller, who has been all over the football field. He is a transfer from Coffeyville Junior College. And the young man leads the team in tackles, and he's really all over the field today.
Let's take a look at number 34, Brian Miller, that inside linebacker, where he took on the blocker. The blocker did a poor job. Brenner went down to his knees, number 76. And there you see Miller still standing with his helmet right in the ball carrier's face.
2nd down and 10. No gain on the play. Hochberg, play action. Throws for Pendergrass. Pendergrass gets away. He's at the 40-yard line. Boris Pendergrass is close to the midfield stripe and has a Rutgers first down before Kirk Terry knocks him down.
Once again, good execution, timing everything. You talk about the quarterback's arm, his ability to throw the football or throw deep. You don't have to be able to throw 50 or 60 yards. You've got to throw perhaps 20 to 30 yards and be on target. And the timing has to be there with the receiver when he makes that hook. That's obviously what the pass pattern was. Hooked up, Hochberg right on target with the football.
Pendergrass, big day, 6 catches, 107 yards. Rutgers now has the field position, but they've worked for it. Vernon Williams, and you know he's thinking about surrounding the football with both his arms.
Very interesting, though, that Vernon Williams is in the ball game against Kentucky. When he fumbled the ball twice, they pulled him out and he didn't play another minute. But Dick Anderson has elected to come back with him and hopefully maybe build his confidence.
Yeah, that's it.
And maybe that's the only way to approach it. You can't pull a kid out right away all the time and think that's going to do it. Let him play and let him learn to hold on to the ball.
Second down and 8. Ball at the 47-yard line of Louisville. Hochberg for Pendergrass, and there he is again. 29-yard line. A couple of years ago, Pendergrass would drop passes like that, but now, Sam, as I mentioned to you in the first half, he's got some nice hands.
Yes, he does, and again, it wasn't an easy catch. He had to go up for the football. It seems to me that the Louisville team in a deep zone. Watch again. You'll see a lot of room between those cornerbacks and safeties dropping deep out there, and Pendergrass as he breaks over the middle. Number 2 is easily 6 or 7 yards from him on the play. Number 2 is that block for him on the play. Talking about Williams, remember prior to that opening game against Penn State, that was one of the things that Dick Anderson had mentioned. He wanted to get the ball more to his fullback. He felt he had more speed than Albert Smith.
First and 10, 18-yard line, 5:28 to play. Rutgers hands to Albert Smith. Touchdown, Albert Smith.
That's the cut. We just talked about it. That's the kind of experience you get from running that play over and over. As he went to the outside, there was over pursuit, particularly by the free safety. He came all the way to the corner to stop the run, and Albert cut back inside. You see it here. They blocked the linebacker, Miller, and he's off.
One offensive lineman, I believe that it once again was Klemen Judovic, actually took out 2 men on the play. Never made contact with that second man, but he had a good first block on the first man, and the other guy, the other linebacker, was caught behind that, couldn't get over. Smith certainly did make the right cut. Both the line and Smith get credit on that one.
Angstadt for the point after touchdown, and he drills it. And Rutgers now has the cushion they've been looking for throughout this second half of play. The Scarlet Knights lead it 31-21. We'll be back in just a moment.
What do you call a line of credit that can give you up to $100,000 as fast as writing a check? Powerful. Introducing the new home equity credit line from Manufacturers Hanover. It lets you take advantage of all that equity you've been building up in your home anytime for any reason. Call us at 1-800-645-6400 for a fact-filled home equity application kit. It'll help you see your home in a whole new way. That's 1-800-645-6400. Manufacturers Hanover Trust.
Full-on off-road racing. At Mitsubishi, we do it to build you a better truck. Along the way, we happen to win the World Off-Road Racing Championship, which all goes to prove every Mitsubishi truck, from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive to turbo diesel, is tough to beat and easy to own.
The Rutgers cheerleaders responding off the touchdown run by Albert Smith, an 18-yard jaunt to Pater. And Smith has led all ball carriers in this football game. Albert Smith with 13 carries, 69 yards.
And they traveled 95 yards. You're going to see it in a moment in 9 plays. Didn't take that much time, but they did mix it up, both running and passing. What about Rutgers as a second-half team? You were talking about it before, Bob.
Well, you made the quote as far as the numbers they score in the third period and the second period, but in the fourth period is when they really have put people away. They did it to Cincinnati here with big scores. They did it to Army last week, completely controlled the game, and now when they needed it with 5:22 left, they didn't get a field goal. They got the touchdown, which puts them comfortably ahead by 10. Now the defense has got to brace itself, as you know, for the aerial game.
Rutgers has taken the yardage lead at this point, 445 total yards to 366 for Louisville.
Gary Liska's kick is handled by Eric Vaughn. Vaughn to the 15 in trouble. And Rutgers' coverage on the kicking game this afternoon has been excellent. Louisville will start from their own 20-yard line or so with 5:17 to go in the football game, and all of a sudden the clock becoming a factor.
Well, this is where the defense certainly has to tighten up. They've given up a lot of yardage, 366 yards to Louisville, most of it via the pass. I don't know what they can do, except they've tried the blitz, and it's worked at times, and it also backfired on them on occasion.
They can't afford to give up a big player, have a foolish penalty. They got to let him work for everything and not give him the deep threat, the big gainer that'll get him off the hook here on the 20-yard line.
Rupert is dangerous. His first pass, though, of this drive incomplete. Bruce Armstrong and Ron Davenport were both out there. Nobody near the football. Flag is down.
Well, Rutgers was sending 4 people that time. Haleda was coming from the outside position, from the outside linebacker position, putting some pressure on Rupert. He threw the ball prematurely. Ron Davenport never even saw the ball coming. He was still looking upfield.
But unfortunately, after the play, Rutgers defensive tackle Barry Bukowski threw a forearm. Official caught him, and they're going to put 15 yards on this now and give him a first down on the 35. Those are the kind of mental
Dead
mistakes.
ball, personal foul on the defense. First down.
Can't happen, and here comes Bukowski out of the game. It pulled him right away.
So Louisville now gets the benefit of 15 up to the 35-yard line. First and 10. Rupert across the middle, incomplete. John Cummins was all over Ernest Givens. No flag down. It will be second and 10, and Rupert, no doubt, is going to throw somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 or 60 passes today.
You know, that last penalty was probably more inexcusable than the one earlier in the game by McHarris, which certainly hurt Rutgers more at the time. It was down near the goal line, and it gave them the football in, I believe, a fourth situation. But this one here, as you said, was just inexcusable in a close game. In any game.
Right.
At any time. Like
James
one turnover
Jones
is too many.
to the right. Ernest Givens left. Givens a quick out pattern. And a nice, sure tackle by Butch Young in the open field. 6-yard pickup.
They'll give them those kind of passes because they're short. But again, they're looking for that cornerback to come up and make a mistake. And Givens, we know, can do it. But that time, Butch Young, who's come through time and time again. Last week against Army alone, he had 7 individual tackles, came up and made the play for a short game.
Well, he will hit you. Also, what the offense might be trying to do is to get that quarterback to come up and fight. And then on the ensuing play, have the wide receiver hook up and then go deep.
This is 3rd down and 5, and every 3rd down situation now is important for Louisville. Rupert's pass through the hands of Givens and incomplete.
I have to think that he was aware of where the defenders were. It didn't seem to me that he makes an all-out effort for this football. Let's see it now. He's going over the middle. This is where concentration is a primary. Well, the ball was tipped, and he did reach for the football. Yes, he made an effort.
Roy Oak was right there, made a big play, got his hand up in his face, and that's the kind of little things in a defense that make the difference between the completion and an interception or an incomplete pass.
4th down, and Danny Serion will have to punt it away to Butch Young. 4:30 left in the game. Young signals for a fair catch. It takes a Rutgers bounce.
Oops!
And the ball will finally go down at the 43-yard line or so.
They'll rule that ball dead. They've got to.
Let's see. The Rutgers player did touch the ball.
Why?
No,
I believe the ball was down before the Rutgers player touched the ball. Therefore, Rutgers would have it. We'll have to wait for the official call. Roy Oak made a poor judgment by trying to pick up the football. It was only a 17-yard punt. But now Wesley Ward will try to sort things out for us.
I think it was taking a Rutgers bounce when he attempted to get a handle on the football.
No. The ball was touched by the kicking team, and as soon as it was touched, that nullified anything else. And that's what occurred.
Down by Louisville.
And when that occurred, the ball was dead. Now Rutgers takes over in great field position. And again, in the fourth period, I think they're wearing them down. Surely Louisville, as we talked, dominated the third period. But Rutgers has come on here in the fourth period. And with 4:18 on the clock, I think, Sam, will see them do what you were talking about all day, and that is run the football some and make that clock come down to a reasonable time.
Final score, Penn State 24, Syracuse 3.
4:18 left to play. Rutgers would like to give the ball to Albert Smith now and proceed up the field and let that clock wind down. Scarlet Knights lead by 10. Here's Smith. Big hole, acceleration, knocks off a referee. He's at the 40-yard line, and Albert Smith is still churning at the 30-yard line. Don Cosby made the tackle. Smith with some fine acceleration.
Well, you know, this is what we've been talking about, controlling the football on the ground, something every team would like to do. He breaks an arm tackle there.
Takes on the umpire.
Yeah. And here, once again, breaks a tackle. Just a determined effort by Albert Smith. Good running back. You know, we're talking about running with a football. Even in the Syracuse game, I have the stat here somewhere. I can't find it. I'll get to that in a moment.
1st and 10, Rutgers at the 32-yard line of Louisville. Rutgers in command now, leading by 10. They go to Smith again, and Albert carries people to the 27-yard line.
That's 6 yards on the play, more than enough. Going back to the Syracuse game, and Rutgers is normally given credit for that win because of the Syracuse turnovers. But in that game, if my memory serves me correct, I can't find the stat. They held Syracuse to 30 yards and 34 carries, and I believe they had well over 100 yards running with a football. That's why they won that football game. The turnovers obviously didn't help. That caused the one-sided score.
3:37 left to play. 2nd down and call it 4. Smith following Williams. He's over the 100-yard mark this afternoon. He's at the 20, has a Rutgers first down. Mike Minogue made the tackle.
Again, running back away from the field, away from the strength, into the sideline, just trying to get his first down. That time he didn't have the room to cut back. He was pushed out of bounds, which stops the clock, but he still comes up with a very short yardage situation here. It should be about 3rd and 2.
What is somewhat ironic about it, however, is that Rutgers has hurt themselves running with the football today because of the fumbles. Normally, one of the reasons you like to control the ball on the ground, keeps your defense off, it eats up time, and also there's less chance of a turnover. But of course, Williams has coughed it up twice today.
3rd down and about a yard to go. I misled you. I thought it was a first down. It is not. It is less than a yard. 3rd down and less than a yard at the 23-yard line of Louisville. Albert Smith, first down and more. Albert Smith at the 10, and he is gone again.
Once again, the gamble. We talked about it before. You send your linebackers. Louisville felt they needed the big play, trailing 31-21 here in the 4th quarter with 3 minutes remaining. Watch the linebackers coming. Everybody's coming. Smith breaks through, and now there's nobody to make the tackle. Just outruns Cosby, number 26. Actually, he sort of shrugged him away. Get away from me.
Up
as
front,
he went over the goal line.
The line did the job, and Scott Drake, the other tight end that comes in and does such a nice job when called upon, got a good block in the secondary, which enables Smith to break that and go on for the score.
Tom Agstadt will try the point after touchdown, looking to give Rutgers a 17-point lead. The kick is up. The kick is good. Rutgers has exploded late in this 4th quarter of play. They now lead Louisville 38-21, and Albert Smith has just come alive with a couple of brilliant touchdown runs.
There you see Albert Smith once again. You see there are a lot of people on that line of scrimmage and nobody in the traditional linebacking position to move over and make that tackle. He does pick up a block downfield by Drake and just coasts over that goal line.
Albert Smith this afternoon, 17 carries, 127 yards. He's over the 100-yard mark for the 3rd time this season. And Rutgers is starting to think about Boston College and Doug Flutie next week.
Talk about another turnabout. This week it was a turnabout for the defense, going from the wishbone of Army to the multiple, wide-open offense of Louisville. Next week they go from a drop-back passer this week in Rupert to Flutie, who does it all.
They're going to be tested, but this is a good preparation for them because they're going to see the kind of formations they've seen today, probably a little bit more motion. But what a build-up to Flutie. He does give one other dimension to the offense, as you described it, Sam, and that is he gives a chance to run on his own. We didn't see that today out of the Louisville quarterback, Ed Rupert, but it should be a great test, and the defense should have a good feeling about themselves going against the passing team. And there's a guy, Albert Smith, who's done the job today, and he's done it really all season. He's the workhorse in the running game.
5-yard penalty will be assessed to Rutgers on the kick, and they will try one more time. I think today was a perfect example of the defense shutting down the Louisville team 3 or 4 times in the second half, giving the offense the opportunity to respond. And finally, after some trouble, the offense did respond and said to the defense, well, you guys did your job. I'm glad we finally could contribute.
Yeah, and when you consider the 2 turnovers on the fumbles and also that penalty, which set up one of Louisville's scores, the defense has bended and hasn't broken too often.
Vaughn back at the 2-yard line. Vaughn is really upended at the 21-yard line. And again, the Rutgers kick team, Louis Morrow, a sophomore from Union City, playing well all afternoon. Louisville will get the ball with 3:16 to play, and they're going to put the football up. So far today, Rupert with 54 passes. He's completed 28. Let's listen to this one. 2-yard line.
Sam, we've said many times, to play on that part of the football team, you got to be not only reckless, but maybe a little bit off the wall, and they sure have enough of them here. And Alex Hoke was down there too, and he's been a part of that specialty team all season.
Rupert back to work. Throws the pass complete to Willie Shelby, flagged down after the reception at the 29-yard line.
The Rutgers will give them that kind of short pass for 6-7 yards, especially at this point of the football game, leading 38-21 with 3:10 remaining. You can take that all day.
I'd like to go back to something that I talked about in the open of the telecast. This is a Rutgers football team that few people expected would be competitive, let alone winning 5 games or 4 games this early in the season. And I really think that Coach Dick Anderson and his staff deserve a tremendous amount of credit, Bob, for the way they have remolded and reshaped their football team.
Well, you come in with a new staff. Dick came in with a lot of new people, enthusiastic guys, and they made believers out of this team. And I think we saw it at Penn State. We didn't know if it was for real, but we saw a team play very tough against Penn State, but they've done it every week since.
Rupert throws, his receiver had fallen down, and Butch Young almost stole one and was headed to the end zone.
Well, the field just looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously, it's wet, and they're having problems with it.
Well,
Who's
we
that,
did have
Bruce?
a shower, as we said before. It's hard to see his number.
That's Dr. Joel Fertig, who is the team dentist. Now, I'm not sure what he's looking at. Perhaps it is.
He's looking at a new customer. That's what he's looking at. But aside from that, I think to have a game like this before a crowd like this, as you described it, the biggest crowd they've had since 1980, homecoming, puts it all together for Dick Anderson and his staff and his football team.
Rupert back to throw. We'll put it up deep. And it is picked off. Picked off by Darrell Brittingham, a reserve free safety. And that is the 3rd interception of the afternoon for Rutgers. Scarlet Knights now with the ball and a 17-point lead.
I couldn't count whether there were 5 or 6 defensive backs, but obviously they went to their prevent defense, took out a linebacker, put in the extra defensive back. He was reading the quarterback once again, reacting to the football, and came up with the interception. You're talking about Anderson and the staff. A good coach finds, utilizes his people properly, and motivates them. I guess Anderson really hasn't had time to build a team here via recruiting, but he certainly has done a good job of utilizing his people properly, and they are highly motivated.
New quarterback, Joe Gagliardi, in the game for the first time. He pitches to Albert Smith, and here he goes again. Smith out of bounds near the 30-yard line.
That's just sheer effort on Smith's part, and also that this defensive club of Louisville has really had it. They've tried today, but they haven't been able to stop Rutgers, either the pass or the run. But the pickup on Dick Anderson, I think we talked about this when we did the first game of the season. He came in with one thing to his credit. He came in with credibility because of where he came from. Then once he proved what he was talking about, the demands he made of these players, they've responded, They've had success, which, of course, sort of picks up on everything else, and the fact that they're winning now, it all comes together.
That old expression, winning breeds winning.
Yes, sir.
Second down and a yard. Smith picked up 9 before he stepped out of bounds. We have a Louisville player perhaps jumping on the play.
They're saying that the Rutgers offensive tackle, number 75, actually made the first move. And I think the official is going to agree with him. It's Tom Keating.
That's Jim Keating's twin brother.
Talking about the offensive line, Sam, we mentioned to it earlier.
The offense. Second down.
Glenn Fine has been in there most of the day. Joe DiGilio, who started and has played so well over his career here at Princeton, is out. Excuse me, at Rutgers. And Fine has done the job today.
Straight up the middle, Rutgers keeping the ball on the ground. And Dan Lipset, number 35, gets his first carry of the day, a freshman from Minersville, Pennsylvania.
And that speaks well for their team when you can bring somebody in like Fine, who is a senior, and give him a chance to play and let him do the job as he's done today.
Well, we saw him once or twice last year, and I was impressed with him at that time. He did a good job in substituting for DiGilio.
Joe Gagliardi, a transfer from Tulane, a sophomore from North Babylon, New York, played for St. John the Baptist High School, and getting his second shot of the season, handing off to Dan Lipset again, and Lipset picking up 4 yards. That offensive line has done a nice job in this fourth quarter, blocking as far as running goes, and throughout the game, pass blocking.
Well, we've got a whole new offensive line in there right now because I don't recognize any of the starting numbers, and I shall leave their identification to you.
Okay, Marshall Hagley checks in, Randy Hannes, Glenn Fine, also Michael Dillon and Tom Keating. But still, tremendous credit to go to that first group. They blocked well this afternoon. Gagliardi pitches back to Brian Anthony. Anthony getting a couple of yards as Rutgers has a chance here now to give some players that have worked hard all season and haven't seen much playing time a chance to play.
They're doing pretty good, aren't they?
They're doing fine, and also you think about this team and where they are at this point of the season. They'll be 5-2 going into the Boston College game. Who would have believed it? They're going to go up to Boston to play Boston College, and I'm sure it's going to be a great football game because they believe in themselves, and I think after beating the likes of Syracuse and playing Army as tough as they did and winning and coming back today against the passing team, that they'll give them all they can handle.
And if Hochberg can come up with a performance like he did last year against BC, 27-43, they might win it.
Lipset coughs up the football, still loose, floating around. I believe a Rutgers player picked it up. It will be good for a Rutgers first down at the 20-yard line. 45 seconds remain in the game. The score is academic now. Rutgers leading by 17 and on their way to their 5th victory against only 2 losses. Hochberg on the afternoon. Listen to these statistics. 26 of 38, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
That may be the most important stat, no interceptions.
He has played 6 games now and thrown only 5 interceptions. That's a tremendous improvement from a year ago.
That has to indicate poise, confidence, intelligence.
Rutgers will keep it on the ground, and Lipset picks up a couple of yards down the left side.
And those qualities may be more important, in fact, I'm convinced they are, than the good arm per se.
Well, I think the confidence factor you mentioned, Sam, is most important because who would have thought that he could come in here and throw the ball this well? We had our doubts about him, so did everybody else, but he does have confidence in himself.
Well, that is it, and the fans are shouting, "Bring on Doug Flutie," as Rutgers has rolled to their 5th victory of the season. In the fourth quarter, they made it work on the ground, and the result, a 38-21 victory over the Cardinals of Louisville. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up for you in just a moment. Army, Fairfield, Fordham, Holy Cross, Iona, LaSalle, Manhattan, St. Peter's. 8 teams looking to make a move in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. And in 1984-85, the excitement of MAC basketball will be seen right here on the Madison Square Garden Network. MAC basketball is heading into its 4th season, and everything indicates it will be the best ever. The MAC comes off a season in which 4 teams played in postseason tournaments, and a new wave of fine talent bolsters the budding reputation of the conference. Just one look, and you'll thrill to the MAC's fast-paced action and some of the area's most intense rivalries. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, part of the full lineup of college basketball on the Madison Square Garden Network in 1984-85. We bring legends to living rooms. Well, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers and their band play on. Homecoming day, a success. Rutgers defeats Louisville 38-21. Here are the final statistics on the afternoon.
And certainly they are impressive for Rutgers. 179 yards rushing, 357 yards passing. They limited Louisville to just 51 yards on the ground. Remember, coming into today's game, Louisville was ranked 7th in the nation throwing the football. They were not an easy team. This is a tough football team. The 4 teams they lost to had a combined record coming into today's action of 20-2. They gave Rutgers the pass early in the football game. They took it when they gave them the run later on in the football game. Rutgers got most of that rushing yardage. A very impressive day for everyone, including Eric Hochberg.
And a big day it was for Eric Hochberg, 26 of 38. He really had a field day against this Louisville defense. He showed poise, he showed confidence, and Madison Square Garden Cablevision will make a $500 contribution to the General Scholarship Fund of Rutgers University in the name of Eric Rusty Hochberg as the Rutgers Player of the Week.
And besides, he did it all. He not only threw the ball well for completions, he did not throw an interception. He had a lot of poise, and he hit his receivers as he does here when he had to. And this one in particular, he hits in the middle of the seam as he goes to his tight end, Alan Andrews, who was just spectacular all day coming up with those kind of plays.
And once again, even that pass, it looked very easy, but he had linebackers in front of him, and I believe he threw over the linebackers in that instance rather than between them. A very impressive day for the entire Rutgers football team, and of course the big one next week against Doug Flutie and Boston College.
And as I looked at it, Dick Anderson came in with a lot of fears this week because he knew there could be a letdown after Army, but this club before the homecoming crowd did it all today.
Next week, perhaps the biggest game in a long time for Rutgers as they take on the Eagles of Boston College. Final score once again, Scarlet Knights of Rutgers 38, Cardinals of Louisville 21.